Welcome to the Saturday Warm-Up Podcast. I'm Johnny.
I'm James.
I'm Gavin.
Hello. Good week this week, Gav?
Yeah, very good.
I thought we kept it really shallow this week.
It was as shallow as possible with a little bit of football here and there.
It was shallow end.
It really was. I was really worried that last week we got a bit deep, but I think this week we managed to really avoid that. We were profoundly shallow.
You hated it when we talked about football last week, didn't you?
Well, no, I'm just saying you got a bit like... Do you know what?
I got a bit football-y.
No, this is my yardstick. Is if this guy was telling me this in a pub, would I move away? And some of your points
you never listen
were.
to what we say in a pub anyway.
Yes, I do.
You do not.
Of course I do.
Do you not? You stand there looking at the Walker prints on the theatrical pub wall,
Do you
wondering
know
why
what,
there isn't one of you.
Do you know what? You know any cul-de-sac stories? You're like you could stand at the end of a cul-de-sac and become a mini roundabout around which the cars just went round and round.
A sleeping
'Cause
policeman.
you never go anywhere. This isn't print journalism. You've got to get used to the big world of radio because it's the future and it ain't changing. Gav, you had a lovely week. You're a pleasure to be with.
Thank you. I always am.
But on the show, I think you also had a good time.
I enjoyed
I
myself.
mean, you really came out today. You hit the ground running.
Do you know what? We had
did.
more tweets this week than we've ever had for footballers you've bumped into on holiday.
It was amazing.
There's
There's
loads.
loads
If
of
you
them.
go on the at TS Warm Up Twitter feed,
Okay.
you can read them. There's some brilliant ones.
We always want those coming in. But I tell you what else I sort of want for next week, and this is my heads up for this. James, I don't know if you can get your social networkers going
we
on
can
this.
tweet this out.
Okay. What I want to know is who's banned. You know, like in any group of mates to go off anywhere, someone say, you are banned from eating...
You're not coming.
No, you are banned from eating crisps in the back of the car
Right.
from now on. Because when they last week
Just
they found
too
a whole bag
messy.
of cheese and onion crushed up. Well, no, you are not having Maltesers in this car again.
What's your car etiquette? Do you have a clean car, or is it just a build-up of kids' mess?
Do you know what? I don't really bother with driving anymore. I genuinely don't.
You live
What
in
about-
London,
what
no
about
one
in your
does.
Do you never get in the missus's car?
Yeah, I do. I do. She has command of both vehicles now, and it's just all down to her. I've given up.
But does she keep a clean car?
Yes, she keeps an immaculate
Keeps it
car.
ship-shape.
It's really annoying because the other day I went and had lunch with a mate of mine. I came back and we had a few shortbreads. I left them crumbled in the mug holder at the front, and
got in trouble.
No, she woke me up in the morning
To tell you
She
about.
woke me up just about 6 o'clock. She goes, "Have you seen the car? Have you seen the car?"
What,
And she goes,
you thought it had been in an accident or
because,
something?
No, she went, "Because you live like a pig." I'm thinking, hang on a second, it's a bit of shortbread in a mug rack. That's not, pigs don't have that in
My
styes.
wife gets furious when I make a mess, but, I just say, no, that's how I wanted it.
How many
Nice.
pigs drive a four-wheel drive car?
Exactly, in designer squalor. Exactly what I told her.
That's how I wanted it.
Yeah, that's how I wanted it. No, I wanted it. I was styling it for an advert.
I was coming back to those shortbreads.
Were you driving these? Because you actually drive here, don't you, James? To show
Yeah, but it's been really bad the last few weeks.
Why? Can't you?
Well, they're smashing up Smithfield Market, and then they're taking a bridge down in Farringdon. Today
Everything
it was
in the way.
trees.
All right, do you know what this
They're
is?
chopping trees. It's
No,
like a salt course to get here.
James, this might play well in the south, but it's not going to play well. Leeds United. That Leeds United.
It's
today-
ruined. I can't go and watch the Leeds because of this show.
I can't go watch Leeds United.
The only
now
two
because
times we're playing in London, and I'm away.
Two times.
Next Saturday.
2 times we play. What was the word that James busted earlier, Gavin, which
Yeah,
we enjoyed?
Boardwalk Empire. Ladies.
Oh, he says, James, before the show today, he says, "Johnny, have you been watching that Boardwalk Empire?"
I don't
You know.
even sound like that.
No. Have you all been watching Boardwalk
Boardwalk
Empire?
Empire.
Do you think I sound like
A
that?
little bit, yes.
George-
You've made it better now. You've said boardwalk. You've put the D back.
Years ago, I was doing a shoot for Loaded. James was editing there at the in. And he had nothing.
That's not true.
He had nothing to say to me at the time.
You were never in Loaded.
I was, yeah.
No, GQ.
No, I was. Oh, yeah, I was.
No, when I was editor at GQ, you were in GQ.
What do you mean? You made me Loaded icon of a decade.
No,
the
that was
point is-
after I'd gone.
That was after you'd gone. Oh, yeah, it was a GQ thing. Anyway,
GQ.
the point is, we were at the shoot, and obviously James, because he was kind of in awe of me, as he still is, he ran out of conversation, and he.
This is totally
It's
untrue.
not- it's
I
not- it's
only
not-
went to the shoots people
Shut
like
up.
Michael Caine.
Would you stop cheese salading it?
TV presenters shoot.
And he went, "What do you mean? I was on. You put me on the cover." Anyway, the point is, we're sitting there, and James just goes, "This is what he says to me, right?" We're sitting there in silence, and he just goes, looking at me like, puppy
You know,
dog. Goes,
by the way, if you're listening to this, if
No,
you
he's
are
looking at me.
podcasting, listening to this is a lie.
He's looking at me, puppy dog eyes, adoration. Quite. It's a bit,
He's in awe.
like it's a bit like sort of Hunter S. Thompson round the Angels.
Okay.
And he's gone to me. He's looked at me, "Johnny, have you got lots of suits?" Here's the podcast. Good morning. Welcome to the warm-up with me, Johnny Vaughan, on TalkSport, on the day when under-fire keeper Joe Hart has been dropped for Man City's game against Norwich. Meanwhile, Arsenal goalie Wojciech Szczesny has signed a new 4-year deal worth a staggering £20 million. He's getting their baseball money. Their top-of-the-table clash against Liverpool is live on TalkSport today at 5:30. Absolutely live and absolutely exclusive. Martin O'Neill is tipped as the new manager of the Republic of Ireland, with Roy Keane set to return as a number 2. And finally, Comet Ison, damp squib or celestial marvel. Look at the night sky tonight. That's the big one. Warming up alongside me, Prince-Entrepreneur James Brown and the man with the definitive word on referees and more. The Woodman's here, ladies and gentlemen. Vinny Woods.
Morning, Yanagis.
Morning.
Morning.
Yanagis is your name in Greek.
Is it?
Yanagis.
Oh, Evcharisto.
Si. That's Spanish.
How are you this morning?
I'm
James?
great. I'm in great form. Just met David Essex.
Yeah.
You know,
I know, it was quite a thing. It's left us all a bit fun because Mickey Quinn.
It's exciting.
Well, Mickey Quinn, he's normally the real warm-up guy in here, but he was all stoned like a schoolgirl. I don't mean he was wearing a little skirt and short white
He has
socks.
a lovely smile, David Essex.
He does.
He does.
Made a career
Like
of it.
Paul Newman.
He
Lovely
does,
smile.
and he's just you listen, you see him there. And obviously, he's changed since the 70s. You know, we all have, frankly. But when that voice comes in your cans, it's
Unmistakable.
he lives, doesn't he? I managed to get him a Madman when I'm drunk as well. I hope we can sample that and drop that just when we like throughout the show because it's ours now, isn't it? James, how was your week?
Fantastic week. Yeah, really good. Had a great week. And
No, I mean in football. I'm trying to. You're still all David Essex.
David Essex.
It's pathetic, honestly. It's brought out. It's a bit
No,
like,
the big story.
Can I just say this is a bit like my thing with Brian from The Sweet?
What's that?
Yeah,
Well, he's just-
he's
I
a bit
like Sweet
attractive.
as well.
Oh, come on, Brian
like
from The
Sweet.
Sweet was
It's brilliant.
fit. But you've got a little thingy with a sort of man crush with David Essex. I've never
No, I
seen
like
it.
David Essex.
You
I
and
like him a
Quinny.
lot.
You and Quinny, but it's
Yeah.
pathetic. Look, you gibbering wreck.
Anyway, football.
Go on.
It was great that see David Beckham lining up to buy a club this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my theory is, they always say what do footballers do after they stop playing. They have to get a normal job or they've spent all the money, they go bust or whatever. I always wonder why not more of them buy football clubs because they earn millions.
They used to buy pubs, didn't
but
they?
yeah, but they do earn millions every month now. Footballers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
know that, James.
I know, but
You're not going to get people going
I
with
think
that.
it's indicative of how they see the footballers just as one big cash cow. That more of them don't buy clubs, you know. And the
I've
fact
always
that
wondered
David
why
Beckham-
agents don't buy clubs
Exactly,
because they're
it's-
so well up. They
because
know there's no money in it.
Exactly, that's exactly it.
There's
It's
no
a really
money in it.
cynical. It's a way of showing the cynicism
Yeah.
in football because the people.
Well, you're
who-
saying anyone who owns a club now, it's more like sort of train set syndrome.
It's just something to play with, yeah.
If you are actually passionate about football,
You
you
would
don't
own
really
one.
you don't really buy one. It's sort of people who like to
No,
have
the
a football
opposite.
club.
No,
Yeah.
the opposite. If you really, if
It's a bauble.
It's toy soldiers.
It's an
They
offshore
should-
bauble.
It's toy soldiers.
they should buy football clubs. They're good at playing football. They know loads of footballers. They know loads of footballers' kids who turn into footballers. They know good coaches from bad coaches. I don't know why. There's Niall Quinn.
Would
was
you
in-
buy a club, James?
Yeah, but I wouldn't buy the club I supported.
Why not? So easy.
No, but you know,
Oh, very good,
No,
sir.
but you've had Niall Quinn was involved in buying Sunderland. You mentioned Wigan.
Oh.
James, before you go crazy with this, what I found, because what you said was it was okay, but what was actually interesting in the story was that it was in his original contract to LA Galaxy that down the line,
To
6
get a
years
club.
on, he'd be allowed to buy a football club.
He's a forward-thinking
And that's
fellow.
like us, you know, in our contract here saying, yeah, and if you do a good show for 2 years, you can have your own radio station.
Yeah.
You can open up a talk sport
Is that
somewhere.
not in the
Did
contract?
you not get
No,
that?
it's not, I didn't know.
Oh,
We are.
weird.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
God,
It'll
typical,
be,
isn't it?
it's going to be Talk James and Talk Gavin.
Yeah.
We'll be going. When we used to do the Vaughan,
Well, hey, wait a
Johnny
second.
Vaughan.
Wait a second. Before it does become Talk James, Gavin, how was your week?
My week was fantastic. I heard the craziest thing I've ever heard anyone say. It's the way Sepp Blatter was speaking about Ronaldo
God,
and Messi.
I love him.
Right? It's all of it is a non sequitur. Listen to this, right? This is Blatter on Messi. He's a good man. He's very fast. He's not exuberant. He's playing well. He's dancing. He's a kind man. He's a good boy.
He's just been. Do you know what it sounds
What does
like?
that mean?
I thought it means he's been watching Dennis Hopper on Apocalypse Now. He's a kind man.
Well, I think
he's a
it's-
strange man.
I think he's trying to
He's
the
trying to
middle letters
rewrite
in
in the word life for if man.
He's trying to rewrite the lyrics from Free Falling He's a good boy.
Can you imagine Bob Clips now? If actually you got to that
And it
horrible
was Sepp
camp,
Blatter.
and then Sepp Blatter was playing the Dennis Hopper photographer, and he got into that dark cave, and he's
washing his head gently in the half, like talking about the gardenias. Anyway,
He then spoke about Ronaldo, and he said, the other one, this is something else. The other one is like a commander on the field of play. But this is the other side of football, and that's good to have such commanders. Because if you don't have the same attitude, and that gives life to football, and one has more expenses for the hairdresser than the other. But that doesn't, I mean, none of it makes any sense.
of course he doesn't. He's a madman.
He is insane.
I'm madman when I'm drunk.
Isn't it great that?
wait a second. David Essex
I'm
says.
madman when I'm drunk.
Listen, I'm not going to steam into Sepp Blatter. We all know we've done a complete U-turn. We are all now in favour of a Winter World Cup.
Yes.
We're right behind him.
We think it's brilliant to have a World Cup in January. It's a bleak, nasty month. Sepp's right. What we don't want is this Spring World Cup they're now talking about, where it'll just come at the end of the season there when we're getting to people are getting to playoffs and really vital. We don't want it then. We want a lovely, warm.
It makes total
cosy
sense.
pub.
It makes total sense.
No guilt about staying indoors in the afternoon to watch a bit of footy. Oh, I think it's marvellous.
Heaven.
The only problem would be is around about Christmas time, if you're playing a World Cup in Qatar, right? There's one problem. Just after Christmas, when surely they'd have it, that's when all your holiday ads are on. And basically everyone's going back to Qatar where there's going to be lots of shots of shopping. The ideal place for a winter holiday. The other Arab states are going to go crazy about their tourist industry. Yes, James.
On the subject of holidays, this morning on the TalkSport, the warm-up Twitter feed, we've been asking people, have you ever bumped into a footballer on holiday?
Have you had some good
We've
tweets
had some
back?
brilliant responses.
Okay, we'll be covering those.
Even Robbie Fowler was tweeted back in.
Fantastic.
And Gary Nelson, ex-players. So send us your tweets.
Okay, we will be having James Brown's the Fowler dialogue. It's better than any the Fowlers had in EastEnders.
The Fowler Files.
It's extraordinary. So we'll be opening up the Fowler Files on that one. We've also got. What
are we looking forward to? We're looking forward
Mad
to
Dog.
Alan Pardew slapping Jose Mourinho. He has promised that if Mourinho tries to run into the crowd to celebrate like he did last week,
Yeah.
that he'll give him a slap.
It's such a negative attitude. He's
Isn't
already
it?
assuming that
That
he's
they're
going to
gonna lose.
concede
Yeah.
goals.
But
What
the
sort
thing
of
is-
message is that to
but
Newcastle?
that means that there's going
when
to be a
when they
slap.
stick one past us today,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I'm
Yeah,
going to do.
I'm gonna give him a
Yeah,
slap.
you wait what I do when we lose.
But also, you know,
I'm going to go mad.
you don't offer a slap unless you're Vinnie Jones, though, do you? I mean, Alan Pardew's not as scary as Vinnie. I don't know.
John Hartson for me has always been football's
slap.
the hardest ever man ever. So certainly sit on Match of the Day. Go
He
on.
was renowned in Swansea for headbutting hanging baskets outside pubs.
No. I don't know, is that a sign of violence or softness? I
No,
don't know.
Kingsway.
It's a sign of booze, that is.
No,
We should do maybe a quick phone vote. A man who headbutts hanging baskets, hard or soft?
I've got a friend who kicked a traffic cone that was placed over a bollard. He broke his toe.
Was he left-footed or right-footed?
He was right-footed.
Thank you very much. Good detail, James. We
Yeah.
needed that one. Warming up next, we've got Martin Mad Dog Allen.
Talk Sport. On air, online and on TV at Freeview Channel 723.
This is the warm-up. Good morning. I'm joined as ever. I'm Johnny Vaughan, joined as ever by the Woodman and Chubby Snacks. You right there, Chubster?
Yeah, fine, thanks, cheers.
I've
Yeah,
gotta
very
tell
good.
you-
We've got millions of these coming in.
Have
these,
you?
These footballers
Okay.
on holiday.
Football's on holiday sightings. Just give us your Robbie Fowler because I've built it now. The Fowler dialogue.
No, a bloke wrote in, I'm going to have to find it, but a bloke wrote in and said, I bumped into Robbie Fowler on holiday. And Robbie Fowler said, no, he didn't. I've never been to Turkey.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah. So now they're having a row about whether it was Robbie Fowler
I thought
on holiday.
Robbie Fowler replied to you. You
Yeah,
said.
he did. So I waded in.
Yeah.
Because I was copied in. He goes, Robbie Fowler, I hope you mean the Istanbul match because I've never been on holiday in Turkey.
Okay.
To which Dean Robinson says, well, must be a lookalike then.
No, it's getting a bit leery.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What's you looking at?
And
Must
so
be
I
looking
said,
at
Robbie, do you want to come on here and talk about it? He goes, I can't. I'm on holiday.
And where is he on holiday? Does the dialogue continue?
He's by the pool. What's the pool nice? Like, wet.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, I
Oh,
said-
that's, I tell you what,
I
Dom,
said,
that's
what is the
quite
pool
scouse.
like?
That's very scouse, that.
He's got away with
What's
words.
the pool like?
Wet.
Oh, I tell you once, fella once years ago. We've got a guest on the show now. It's very exciting for us. Ladies and gentlemen, let's meet this week's manager, warming up.
Somebody gon' get their ass kicked. Somebody gon' get their wheels lit. Somebody gon' get their ass kicked. Somebody gon' get their wheels lit.
Yes, indeed. Who's going to get their ass kicked? Well, it's not going to be our next guest. Ladies and gentlemen, Martin Mad Dog Allen. Morning, Mad Dog.
Hi, Johnny. How you doing?
Yeah,
Hi, chap.
yeah, very, very
Morning.
good. How are you this morning? You well?
I'm very well. I've been sweeping the leaves off my lawn this morning.
Oh, good
I've got a
warm-up.
bit of a stiff back, apparently. Well, I have,
Do
yeah.
you know what? It gets tiring quite quickly because you do it so regularly. You just don't build up the muscles for it. I found.
Have you got a blower, Martin? Have you got a leaf blower, or is it just a
A leaf
rake?
blower. I've got a leaf blower, yes. No, but I did do it with a rake this morning.
Do you
God
know,
bless. Got a bit of exercise.
I've got a leaf blower, the still one. I don't know, both. You got to still. You tell
Is
people.
it like an electric one?
No, it's petrol, two-stroke.
Yeah, I've got one of those. It gets a good, the orangey type one.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
it's just the smell. Just when you fire up and you get that two-stroke, suddenly it just turns you into like a redneck. You're standing there, you're just like going, yeah!
Monster trucks.
But the thing is, sometimes do you find yourself with your blower, Mad Dog, just chasing like one leaf round without revving it up? Because you always get a bit of air out of it. You just you think, what a waste of power. I'm using a two-stroke engine just to sort of corral a leaf to the main pile. Anyway, Mad Dog, tell us about your warm-up, how you used to warm up for football, because your dad really did shape the mad dog that you are. Just maybe, I'd like to start by talking about how he used to like you warming up, because he strikes me as probably having quite a strict regime.
What, warming up?
Yeah.
What, for the game?
Yes.
Do what you want. Go out, do a few exercises, bit of scrambled egg at 12 o'clock, a few beans. Drive to the game, always be early so you never get caught in the traffic.
Nice.
Get changed as quick as you can. Mentally,
Okay.
as calm as I possibly could be. Because
Get changed
I
mentally.
used to
Get changed mentally.
and mentally.
Yeah.
Get
Okay.
ready mentally, because it was each game was obviously a real challenge for the way that I used to play, God bless.
Yeah, yes. It certainly was. It was more of a challenge for those who faced you.
Martin, have you ever been in a position where you've wanted to name yourself in the team because you know you could do better than the players that you're managing?
Oh, no, I've never done that. Imagine that feeling. That would be horrible, wouldn't it?
That'd be great.
No,
Putting yourself on for the last 10 when you're like 3-1 up.
I've had enough of
I'm
this.
going to come on.
Yeah, I
I'm going to come on as a
see where
striker.
you're coming from.
I'm going to come on as a
But,
striker.
no, that would have been lovely to do that, but no, that would be so disrespectful to the players.
Okay.
No, I couldn't do that. No.
Okay, where did the name Mad Dog come from? Because I sort of read a biography, a brief biog of you, and it was unclear at which time it was actually nailed down.
Well, those the American crazy dogs that were imported, and they were on the front page of a red top newspaper on a regular occasions for
Yeah.
biting people.
The pit bulls,
and one of
yeah.
our midfield players, the pit bulls, called Ian Bishop. He was my sort of a midfield player playing next to me, and he used to laugh and joke and be a pretty casual character.
Yeah, he was
through
casual.
the game. For me, it was quite the opposite. And I used to froth. I used to froth at the mouth. I literally used to froth when I was playing, and I had a skinhead because my son Charlie had alopecia. And in those days, you could wear your shirt out and your socks down a little bit. And Ian Bishop one day, casually during the game, said, "You look like one of those mad dogs."
Nice.
And it had come from the Red Top Sun newspaper, and that stuck.
Well, he actually he'd seen a headline about an horrendous dog mauling, and then he looked at you on the pitch and he said, "My, how mad,
That is it.
how Alan reminds me of that dog I saw on the front page of a Red Top this morning." Do you find when you got your socks rolled down, it just gives you that extra bit of madness?
I suppose it did in those days. You could get away with it.
It worked for your
nowadays,
teammate.
obviously-
It worked for your teammate Julian Dix, didn't it? He had the shirt out all the time, didn't he?
Yeah, that was good and proper. His warm up, his was the best warm up.
Go on.
He used to have 2 cans of Coke, 2 Mars bars in the medical room, and never go out for a warm up.
Brilliant.
Lay there in the treatment
And
room.
that is
In the treatment room.
precisely why he ended up as a golfer.
And we also had a fantastic old-fashioned physio at West Ham when I first joined there, and in his treatment bag, as it was in those days, not a medical bag, a treatment bag,
treatment
he had with his sponge, he had a small bottle of whiskey.
Oh, or like a St.
Yeah.
Bernard
A
when he
little
came
team
over.
spirit. A little team spirit.
And so you little nip of whiskey before you went out to play.
Oh, I thought you meant when a guy was injured on the pitch, he trotted out like a St Bernard. St Bernard gave him spinach from a little barrel round his neck.
Spinach, that was Popeye, wasn't it?
No, I said spirits. Although, to offer a player spinach on a pitch...
That would be good.
Really odd for a
can
physio.
of spinach.
Come on, you've seen Popeye. Don't be stupid, it's a cartoon.
It works.
No, it works. No, it doesn't. Give me the whiskey. Now, as a manager, how do you get your players really warmed up? I mean, you say about scrambled eggs and things, but what's part of your warm-up process? And do they find you an inspiration in this arena?
Well, the sports scientist and the first team coach, they normally do the warm-ups, to be honest with you, Johnny.
Okay.
They would take the players out at 2:15.
What about the psych-up then, Martin?
Well, I think that would mainly happen through the week. Generally, you're building up to the game probably on a Thursday morning.
A week-long G-up.
A week-long psych-up?
On a Thursday morning, that would normally start where you name the team and do your team play and try and put in a way of playing that can win the game. And try and get your players focused and ready and calm, ready to play that next challenge. You know, when you're playing 2 or 3 times a week, people expect some sort of Churchillian type speech, but it's just not going to happen 44 times. So you've got to keep it on a kind of a level, whereas everybody on the outside and saying, "Oh, this is the big one, it's a 6-pointer." To us, we do have to keep it as another game and another challenge, and on we go to the next step.
What would you say has been your sort of most Churchillian moment there in the dressing room? What would you say?
In the dressing room, I dived in. That was probably my maddest Churchillian. This is how to do it in the freezing cold, diving into the mysterious river up in the Tyne Tees or wherever we were, up near Hartlepool.
What, you dived in?
To show the players that it was
He's
doable.
famous for this. This is one of the great things he did.
Well, they were talking about swimming the river, and they were talking about it and chatting about it, and they were all saying a $5 a man for the person that jumped in and swam across. It was only about 20 yards wide. And but that was when I just took over at Brentford and hadn't won away from home all season.
Yeah.
They were in the relegation season. Hartlepool, I think, the third. Hadn't lost at home. This was a Friday afternoon when about 4 o'clock when all the kids were coming out of a school in a local pub.
What month was this?
I think it was about April, maybe even March.
Well, it's not quite the manly month of river.
It can be cold in April.
Yeah, but it's not quite what I call one of the manly months for river dunking.
We're in Hartlepool. We're not down by in Surrey by the River Thames.
Good point there.
And
Different weather zone.
Took me top off, took me tracksuit bottoms off, went round the other side, faced them all, said $5 a man, and they all were willing to pay it.
Did anyone follow you in?
Across. No. And I said, if you say you're going to swim it, get in and swim it. And God bless, we won the next day 2-0. So
of course they did. So the danger of doing that is then sort of every town you go to with a river, it's like, in you go, Mark, we're all waiting. Lucky Martin going for a swim. But you don't want a culture of that to develop, do you?
No, not indeed you don't, no.
All right,
that year we went to the 5th round of the FA Cup and ended up doing it at Southampton with one of them great big tankers on the Solent. So... I suppose that was another mad moment.
What did you do?
Well, we played Southampton in the FA Cup 5th round. Brentford, First Division, Southampton with Harry Redknapp in the Premier League. We drew them away in the FA Cup and went for a little walk on the Saturday morning. And on the Solent, we're down there, just on the south coast. And went down the slope and dived in front of all the players, and they all laughed.
Nice. Wow.
And there was one of those oil tankers, which is as long as a football pitch going past.
Yeah.
And it was freezing. And you got out and
I
suppose for that one it was a chance to get everybody to relax and be calm.
Yeah. No, it's a well-known thing in any coaching manual that if you just get a player just to leap out in a river in front of an oil tanker, that'll just focus them. It'll take their minds off the game, but focus them at the same time. Do you know what? Martin, Mad Dog Allen, thank you very much for taking us through some of your more bizarre warm-ups there. The river jumping. James, you look like you got something to say there, James. No, but what do you mean? You raised your hand, opened your mouth and went, Johnny... that must mean you've got something to say. No, right when I'm in the middle of wrapping a guest up. You must have. You wouldn't surely interrupt me during that. Fair enough. No. Ladies and gentlemen, Martin Mad Dog Allen! Oh, that's sounding like a proper club, right, Gav?
That's a good ending.
That's how we want to close things. That's what
like
we're going to
that.
do. James, what do you want to say?
Yeah, I just was getting ahead of it. I thought you were going to say, see you, Martin. Alistair Rutherford, this is a great one. On holiday,
Yeah.
footballers on holiday, didn't meet one footballer. I met the Saudi Arabian national team in a lift in a hotel in Tunisia.
Right.
15 of them. I was 8 years old. He met 15 footballers in a
in
lift.
one go.
I was once the only other, me and my missus were the only other people on a plane with the Real Madrid team on an early morning flight coming back from, they played a game in Real Mallorca. And I was sitting next to what's called Roberto Carlos.
Yeah.
Bobby Charles.
And again, yeah, nice. And again, I just had that moment of where you look at your own thigh and can compare it in width.
To a sportsman.
He would, I tell you now, he would outrank Stuart Pearce even in the big thigh years.
Really?
Having sunbathed next to Stuart Pearce, I'm not saying I regularly glance at footballers' thighs for a comparative study, but I've got to tell you, Roberto Carlos's could barely fit in. But you know what they did? They started giving us badges and stuff.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, all the players were just going around and just giving badges.
Was it EasyJet?
No, it was.
It was in Spain, wasn't it?
No, I'm
It was in
joking.
Spain.
The Real Madrid team.
Yeah. No, it wasn't, but it was a regular fight, though. It was quite weird.
Was it?
Anyway,
Right.
listen, we're going to take a break. Back in 1 second.
Talk Sport.
You listen to the warm-up on TalkSport. Thanks to Capital One, the credit card that supports the supporters. Certainly supported a very good game for them at the Emirates earlier on in the week. John, I just read one of those headlines in the Times, which is so sort of optimistic. It's so sort of it can only come out of rugby. This, you ready? Disappointed to be dropped, but I still hope to play a part. It's Ben Young's commentary.
Well, he's going to help carry the
Obviously,
kit.
I'm disappointed, but the boss said I can still play a great part. I can carry water and stuff, and I can shout from the touchlines.
He's
and
still at the young, eager stage.
Do you know something? I've been to Twickenham a few times, and here's the Twickenham question that fascinates me every time I go there. I sit there and think, how can 82,000 people create so little atmosphere? No, what I'm saying is, if you've got 82,000 people together and say, right, wait, everybody, shush. I want you to create no atmosphere at all, okay? Shush, everyone. They couldn't do it.
No, they could. That's when you end up with the Emirates.
Oh.
Lead you night. What did he say this morning?
I can't remember.
James, what word did you...
Boardwalk Empire.
What was it?
Boardwalk Empire.
Hey, Johnny, do you like Broadwalk Empire? No.
Boardwalk Empire.
No, do you like Broadwalk Empire? What, James? Broadwalk Empire. I think it's overrated.
For the listeners, that was
Can I-
Broadwalk
It's Broadwalk
Empire.
Empire. I can't watch that Broadwalk Empire.
It is
What's
overrated.
Broadwalk?
It is overrated.
It's not.
It's an American
overrated.
costume drama.
Is it overrated? Hey, that's overrated, is
Hey,
that?
hey, listen, you know.
Hey, what's wrong with thee?
Martin Allen
Yes.
mentioned the
Don't change the
treatment bag.
subject.
I am changing the subject because it reminded me of a great story. Martin Allen mentioned the treatment bag. Somebody once told me a story that at the World Cup, Roy Keane went down with quite a bad knock.
Yeah,
and
we have to be.
And
What was it, a tractor?
the Irish physio ran out, and Roy says, "Get me some of that pain-killing spray. I'm in agony."
Yeah.
And the guy looked in his bag, and he didn't have any. All he had was mosquito spray.
That'll do. That'll do. What did Roy do? Drink it. Roy necked it back in one, and he was as good as
downed
gone.
it.
He just downed it. Chug.
So that was it.
That'll be lovely. That's all right. What's the alcohol content in that? No, it's that's 11%. That'll be fine.
And he got no
No, that's
mosquito
exactly what he
bites.
did.
Yeah.
Roy couldn't see it because he's writhing around. You know, his eyes have gone red. He's frothing at the mouth, and just gets the mosquito spray out, sprays Roy's knee.
Placebo.
jumps
Can you
up on his-
imagine? Can you imagine though, a mosquito that dared to bite Roy Keane, watching it crawl off with malaria?
That was a dead mosquito.
That was a dead mosquito. Absolutely right.
or at least one with a very bad knee.
You don't hear that mentioned much anymore. Treatment bag. You don't
don't
see
hear
it.
Medical
No,
bag.
It used to be the big thing, you know.
Yeah. And you said you used to think it was quite.
He's got his old doctor, you know, his Gladstone bag out. What's he got in
That'd be
there?
a great topic to know what's been in them over the years since 1920
Well, that's the
onwards.
Irish kit, man.
you know what, James?
He's got nothing in there.
Whiskey.
He's got just his holiday
Good.
stuff.
Whiskey, and mosquito repellent.
He's bought his holiday beach bag.
He's got a pulled hamstring.
He's got
Whiskey. He's done his shin splints.
He's got a towel.
Mosquito repellent.
He's got a towel. He's got a novel.
Yeah. I've got a copy of some Shanna Casey.
He's got a warm can of Coke.
I've got a warm can of Coke and I've got a packet of Royleys crisps. And some betting slips. Okay. Sorry, can I just apologise to Roy Keane or anyone who's offended by James Brown?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for back. Oh, hang on, James. You've got a musical question because someone's
Oh yeah,
asked.
right. A few of the listeners to the warm up have been asking about the music that we start the show with. Robert Perkins wants to know what this is.
Right.
Do you know what? It's my favourite ever ska tune. For the purists, it's Swing Easy by the Soul Vendors. But if you want to download it, there is a version called Dub It Easy. Dub It Easy, still by the Soul Vendors, which just gives you a little bit more bass and a little bit more dub. And it's such a tune, man. I like this record because when I used to travel off to away games every Saturday, this was our we're leaving music.
Right.
This was it. We're on the way, loading the car and going. We always rolled off with this.
You give yourself away there.
What's being like an old
Away
skip-
games aren't every Saturday; they're every other week. And Chelsea normally play Sunday. 'cause
away
of Champions
games
League.
every Saturday it was possible
When
to
you
go on one.
once went away
James,
to Fulham.
James, I'm not going to start doing small print. When Johnny says every Saturday, when he means the Saturday there were away games, not with the home games. Obviously, home games you live right across the road.
Terms and conditions
Yeah,
apply.
terms and conditions apply. Watch out what you're saying when James Brown is being a pedantic idiot.
Jay Hester, changing the subject.
Yeah.
I met Andy Cole in Spain. I said, "Hey Andy, massive fan." He sadly replied, "It's Andrew, not Andy."
No! I sat next to
And
his...
don't talk about my fan.
I sat next to his whole family at Newcastle United
What,
away.
Jay Hester's.
Oh, God, you can do this all morning. I sat next to Andy Cole's family
Okay.
at St James's Park. This is when there was there was only about 200 away fans allowed.
Okay.
And so a mate of mine got tickets through Terry Mack. And Terry
You'd love him.
Terry Mack got us tickets. And he stuck us right, there's four of us, just in the in with the Newcastle. It was quite intimidating. I was at the urinal. And I just sort of talked in a sort of weird neutral accent. And I got, "You're in the wrong end, aren't you, pal? You're in the wrong end." I go, "No, we're Huddersfield fans. We've just got an interest in football.
Just here for the football."
just here. I don't think you are. But I tell you what, you sit with Andy Cole's family and his friends. The glint of the jewellery in the floodlights as it got into towards the end of the game.
Sparkly.
It was super. It was like November the 5th. Just looking at their fingers.
That is a brilliant subject. Footballers' families' jewellery.
Okay.
Goal of the year, goal of the year. I'm sitting next to Tony Yeboah's wife.
Yeah.
She's got a tiger on her shoulder. She's got a full bronze or gold tiger creeping.
Sewn into the jacket?
Would it be
or-
a tiger of Africa? No, it wouldn't be. It'd be
That's Indian.
a jaguar or a leopard or
Nice.
something. It was fantastic. It wasn't sewn in. It was a big brassy brooch.
When Mark Bright was at Charlton, he was telling me, I won't name the player, but there's a player there who was in one of the he's a younger player, and he invested all his wages every week in just buying jewellery. just literally had like 2 Krugs on each finger, just all of it. Anyway,
Clever.
Yeah, very clever. Well, no, because goals dropped a bit. But you know what? Brighty saw him out with his family. And the whole family was sitting around the table, just dripping with jewellery, like Belcher chains, a clown. The gold clown, they're there. And Brighty goes up to me and just goes, "Why'd you do it, mate? Why'd you do it?" Johnny said, "Brighty, I love the Tom."
The tomfoolery. Oh,
Brighty.
that's
He said it like a weakness, like an addict. Brighty,
I love the Tom.
I just love the Tom. You know what I love? The whole family. They all love a bit of Tom. Do you know what? We're going to take a break. Then we've got... I've got something extraordinary for you from James Brown, who's got the best holiday story we've ever had. That's coming in right now.
Up above the streets and houses, rainbow climbing high. Everyone can see it smiling over the sky. Paint the whole world with the rainbow.
Warm up!
Hello. Hi, Johnny.
All along the streams and rivers,
Warm up!
see the colours of the rainbow as the morning breaks.
This is the half-time theme. It's up for grabs. Open to your suggestions.
That's a difference from the world at war, isn't it?
It's lovely. Isn't
It's
it?
quite a different...
Well, that this week, that was suggested to us, funny enough, by Kyle Walker. Suggested that.
Yeah, he
so
did.
that was this week. World at War was suggested by Tony Adams. So
we got
what a
some
difference in cultures that was.
Yeah.
You thought you pulled out a big stick then?
No, I wasn't. But I'm going to just say, disappointed to be dropped, but I still hope to play a part. That's what Ben Young says today. He's dropped for the game.
I'm mad when I'm drunk.
Also, that was David Essex's commentary.
Oh, he's got a lovely voice.
It's unbelievable. Also, earlier, mud baths, leeches, and plenty of nasal cleansing. That's the James Brown story at all good bookshops. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That is Camilla Parker Bowles' Wales's Indian detox. That's in the mail today.
That's her warm-up routine, is it?
Yeah, that's her warm-up routine. So mud baths,
royal warm-up. I like it.
mud baths, leeches, and plenty of nasal cleansing.
And she's talking about the rest of the royal family here.
To be truthful, that sounds like any modern professional footballer with any sort of agent round him.
Correct.
We've got some cracking holiday bumping into player story.
Go on then.
Yeah, I've got a couple.
The real Jay Simpson. I was on the incredible Hulk ride with Rude Hullett in Florida this summer.
Brilliant.
That's a good one.
And
I'd like to see Rude on that ride, actually.
yeah, Paul Talon says at TS Warm-Up, I met Cyril Regis in Cuba. He was at a family wedding. We had a few drinks at the club with him that evening. Top guy. Sounds nice, doesn't it?
Oh, he does sound like a good guy.
Yeah.
Do you know, I was once on holiday with Rafa Benitez. I've already done this story for you.
No, but did you go on holiday together?
No, it happened to be at the same. It happened to be at the same. I'm sure I've done this here.
No, you haven't told us. No, you haven't told
Well, I
us.
was on holiday and Rafa Benitez was in the same hotel. I was in the same hotel, and I met him actually at the breakfast buffet. And it's weird because one of those sort of Italian breakfast buffet has tomato and mozzarella, which we're both sort of thinking, shall we? Is it too early?
Masses of cake.
loads of cake.
The Italians have cake for breakfast.
I know.
Anyway, the weird thing is his daughter got quite with my daughter, same age, and they went off to. They wanted to go. It was off season, you know. Rafa going on the cheap, so was I, and our daughters went out to play on the beach, and Rafa says, I'll keep an eye on them. But I know that all the time he keeps leaping in and out of the bushes with his phone because he's trying to sign players secretly.
What, in the bushes?
Yeah, I heard him trying to sign...
Was this when he was at Liverpool?
No, he was trying to sign Gareth Barry, I think. That's what I heard from the bushes. And I was going, which is bizarre.
Hang on a minute. You make him sound like David Lodge in the old Pink Panther films. He's jumping in and out of a bush.
No, he's going to the bushes. I kept sort of saying... No, at one point I said, Rafa, it doesn't matter if we can't see you, we can hear you. That's the key point about telephone conversations. It's not a video phone. They're not lip reading you, are they? Anyway, he was... But the weird thing is that my son's called Raf, yeah, and he was down on the beach as well with the two girls, and they were all there sort of pottering about. And Rafa Benitez went down to keep an eye on them, and. Are you sure I haven't told you this?
No,
it just feels like maybe I'm boring myself. Anyway, but they've gone down there, and I said to my wife, says, "Where's Tabitha? That's my daughter." She says, "Where's she gone?" I said, "Well, she's with a mate down on the beach." And I said, well, she says, "Who's keeping an eye on them?" I've gone, "Well, Raf." She's gone, "Well," I said, "Raf." She's gone, "Well, Raf, he's 5 years old." I said, "No, Benitez." And she's gone, "All right, is that okay?" I said, "Well, I'll go and check." And do you know what? He was telling them to come in from the water and doing that gesture. They come towards me. He was telling them to stop.
Subbing them.
No, he's rude.
Sideline.
Yeah, and I tried to assure my wife, if ever there is a profession for a man who just needs to keep an eye on two people at ground level, you can't get a better childminder than a football manager. Go on.
I've got another
If you have heard that story before, I really apologise.
I've got another tree-related holiday story from James Whittaker, who's a Stoke fan. He says,
Not the former Leicestershire captain.
No, James Whittaker says, I stayed at the same apartment complex as Gary Shaw, the old Aston Villa striker in Marbella. We played 3 and in between the palm trees.
Oh, that's brilliant.
No, to actually play with the football.
Yeah.
I don't mean...
And Kevin Strootman, Gianni van Bronckhorst, and met Zidane in Dubai last year.
That is awesome.
That's amazing, yeah.
Andrew Cranch. No, I saw David Bust on the beach in Jamaica. Could not believe the horrific scars from his injury. Top lad.
But if you did if you did meet Boost, you would instantly stare at that mid shin, wouldn't you? In that sort of, it still is the horror show of horror shows. It's still the photo. I think it's the fact that even Schmeichel couldn't handle it.
It makes you queasy.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. In fact, the memory.
Subject.
Yeah, sorry, I'll change the subject.
Definitely.
Disappointed to be dropped, but I still hope to play a part.
Like
I'm
Johnny.
adamant when I'm drunk.
Certainly are. David Essex says.
He's fast, James, isn't he?
Well, he's
good.
Well, he's getting better.
Listen, I was at the Cult last night.
where?
The Cult.
Is that a new organisation you belong to?
No, UK heavy.
I thought it was the name of a pub.
No, I love the Cult.
The former Southern Death Cult.
The former SDC, former
Yeah.
Death
Yeah.
Cult. And I'll come back to the Cult. But you know when you're in a park or on a beach and a stray ball flies out of a kid's game?
Yes.
Could be a beach ball, and you're desperate to show you've still got it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
you
you
try
kind
and
of run
kick it
over
back,
and you
yeah.
boot it, invariably it misses or whatever.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so Ian Asprey, halfway through one of the songs, he's shaking his tambourine and he throws it out into the audience, right?
Yeah.
This is at the start of the tour in America.
Yeah.
The crew were telling me. So obviously, comes to the next bit where he needs the tambourine.
Yeah.
He turns to the side, to his sideman, his roadie, and, like, you know...
Well, times
need
aren't
the
so
tambourine.
good. They're a one tambourine band, aren't they? Yeah.
gives him the eye for the second tambourine. So the roadie...
Has he got a tambourine man?
Yeah, he's got a tambourine man.
Hey!
So the tambourine man, because it's the start of the tour, he hasn't quite got the weight on the throw yet.
Yeah, he hasn't, yeah.
So he throws the tambourine in, and instead of coming at wrist height,
Yeah.
it's gone too high.
Oh, dear.
Oh.
It's coming in at head height.
That's
Oh,
got
no.
to hurt.
Spinning.
So like the loose ball on the beach or the park,
Yeah.
you can't resist booting.
Yeah, he tried to head it.
Ian's positioned himself. He's got his hands up, his shoulders back, his head back.
Oh,
and
no.
he's just headed it.
Oh, he must have had
no.
stitches.
He's headed this professional tambourine
with the metal bits.
straight back across into the side. 2 huge cuts in the front.
Yeah. Well, who heads a
He had
tambourine?
to do the rest of the gig looking like Terry Butcher.
Right, with a headband.
Do you know what, though, James? You raise an
That's a
interesting...
brilliant story.
I can't believe he headed it. But you know what? You touched on it. It happened to me earlier in the week. You know when you're sort of in the early days of a relationship, and you still at that time where you go for a walk in the park, just the two of you, and you're walking along your missus, and a football rolls across to you, and you have to.
And you have to do something.
Well, no, you've got to kick it back in a way. You not only got to you kick it back in a way that you hope they think, whoa, sign him up.
Yeah.
So, but also
But you've got to be casual about it.
You've also got to look like, because if I wasn't with her, lads,
Yeah.
I'd be with you there kicking that ball. In my heart, I'm with you. But the pride you take. Anyway, it happened to me this week. I was taking Jeff, my dog, for a walk. And this ball's rolled over. And me and Jeff are walking along.
Jeff.
Yeah, Jeffrey.
That's a great name
Yeah,
for
me
a
and
dog.
Jeffrey. Oh, Jeffrey. What's happening, Jeffrey? Because that way I can talk to him like that. Oh, Jeffrey. Anyway, the ball just rolls along. The ball, these kids are just...
You're on a date with Jeff.
I'm taking...
Second date.
No, it's not a second date with Jeff. This is a different thing. I don't tend to date dogs. That's twisted, but it's niche.
Go on, carry on.
It's twisted, it's niche,
don't
it's
dead-end
okay. Anyway, I'm not dead-ending it. Don't use my terminology. Honestly,
Your term is cul-de-sac.
You're like a mini roundabout at the end of the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, keep it going.
So I've kicked the ball, and I haven't really looked at who I'm kicking at. And it's only like 3 or 4 kids. And this ball smacks this child in the head.
Oh, no.
Just earlier this week, I thought, what have I done? I was sort of aiming to sort of cross it in. It went wrong. So if you are that child, I'm really sorry. And so's Jeff.
Talk Sport. On air, online and on TV at Virgin Media Channel 927.
Oh,
You copied. It does matter.
my
No,
God.
I didn't copy anyone.
Oh, sorry. I was starting to sing how great they are. The Elvis classic. Do enjoy that
Johnny,
on YouTube. It's so good.
he's
Yeah.
copying my results.
I'm not copying anything. I had
He's
them written down.
copying. He is copying my predictions.
No,
What you're getting
but
here
you're
is
bottom
the
of the league, James. So
I'm not bottom of the league. You are.
No,
Argument between
No.
You
James
are-
Brown there and Gavin.
Gavin
That
Woods,
argument
11
coming
points.
Absolutely
I've
right
got-
to you on
I've
Talk
got
You
Sport.
will notice my name is above
There
yours.
is, there is,
yeah, but
there is
I'm
just
not-
a bit of speculation
I am not
that Gavin
the bottom
has
of the
been
league.
looking at James's paper. That situation's now calming down, and we're able to give you
I'm so-
the predictions. The wench on the bench is here. Wench on the bench. What's your name, please, love?
Christina.
Hello,
Hi,
Christina.
Christina.
Now, Christina
Hello.
is rather special down here, not only because she's she gets down the gym a lot, but also, which James doesn't, and neither does Gavin, neither do
I
I.
go to the gym.
You don't go to the gym.
Chop wood.
I chop
I
wood.
used a chopper that
A
the
roughneck.
woodman has given me.
He's got his own
He's given me a
roughneck.
roughneck
Yeah, all right. Listen,
chopper.
mate. Yeah, you mean a chipper, and I've seen Fargo.
Those socks.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm from Romania.
You're from Romania.
Yeah, I've been here for a while.
And how many did you get right in your last time you did the predictions?
I think all of them I've heard.
She got all of them right for the bench.
Shaming us.
The
She's
wench on the
shaming us.
bench. It caused a big wrench when she managed to
She caught attention.
because the tension was
was
enormous. And
Wearing some bench
but there was
clothing.
not the stench of defeat around us. Yes, there was. Okay, here we go. At the moment, here's the table. You ready? I'm going to put my glasses on for this. I'm on 14 points. Last week, I got Northampton versus Cheltenham score correct. I knew that was going to roll in. It was pretty obvious. And also, I knew Chelsea would win, but I thought by a larger margin. I couldn't be perfect there. The bench, 12 points. Last week, the bench got Chelsea versus Man City. You got the score correct for 3 points. James Brown. James Brown!
He's up to third.
He's up to third, which is weird. Gavin was top last week.
Now listen, I was top last week. Our producer Steve told me I was top this week because I'd got the Chelsea City score right.
Don't believe Steve.
No, wait. I said to Steve, no, I didn't get the score right. He checked it again, and now I've lost. I could have kept quiet, but I was too honest.
That's just like calling a shot on yourself in golf.
Exactly, yeah.
Can I just say, though, Steve, our producer, is quite odd. No, he is. I don't know what he does, but when he goes, I've seen him go.
He's got his finger on the
button.
button.
No. But when he goes to the loo, I don't know exactly what happens there.
Job's on the line.
No, just listen.
Every time we go live.
No, when he goes to the loo, when he goes to the loo, he comes out with like one of those small jam jars, and he appears to be writing a date on it, which he puts in a filing cabinet. Now, I don't know what the hell's going on with that.
Yeah.
But it was just really strange. And he tried to hide it from me. I was like, what's he doing? But it's the 6th week in a row I've caught him doing it.
do exhaustive drug testing.
Oh, do they?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fine. Thank God for that. Right, should we get on with this?
Yeah.
First game here, Arsenal versus Liverpool today, 5:30 p.m, live and exclusive to National Radio here on TalkSport as part of Matchday Live with Aidan Dream. I think. Okay, let's look at this. Arsenal versus Liverpool. Do you know what? The naive fool would look at this and go, draw. Because you sort of think they're both doing well. It's not going to be a draw. I'm afraid Liverpool are going to win this one at the Emirates.
I fear Suarez.
And I think they're going to win it 1-3. Gavin.
Well, I'm going to say 2-1 Arsenal.
You're going to say 2-1
Even
Arsenal.
though I do fear
Yeah,
Suarez.
but do you know what Gavin does?
I've already done it.
You haven't bet against Arsenal already? I hate people that do this.
No, I didn't bet on that game at all.
Okay.
I just
Does
bet.
he bet against himself?
Yes. So that either way I
You
win.
always get this wrong. I never bet on the game that Arsenal's involved in because I tried years ago betting for Arsenal and it always put the kibosh.
I know, but I'm just saying, don't be one of those people that says, but you see,
no.
that way if I bet against us, either way I win when I go out. I think, either way I'm not going to talk. Either way I'm not going to talk to you in the pub.
I'm going 2-1 to Arsenal.
You're going 2-1 to Arsenal.
James copied me with that one. By the way.
Well, I don't. I
copy you. You copied me.
That incident we've already been through. There was live commentary.
Cardiff Swansea.
The wench on the bench.
I would say 3-1 for Arsenal.
You can say 8-3.
3-1.
3-1 to Arsenal.
Yes.
Okay, I think you're all wrong. I think
She
Liverpool.
said 3-2-1.
Liverpool. Arsenal looking good. Yeah. But this is about the time, just as we go into here, they start to have a bit of a wobble.
Yeah.
Traditionally, when they've been playing good-looking football,
The November
they haven't got
collapse.
the squad. But also, I just think Liverpool with Suarez, they just look
Deadly.
pretty deadly at the
They
moment,
do.
and well marshalled. Anyway, Cardiff versus Swansea. What I like is Cardiff were up at Chelsea going back a couple of weeks, and I thought, wow, they hate the English. It's nice to see the Welsh hate the Welsh more.
They really do.
Yeah,
It's
quite a weird
proper
thing.
derby, isn't it?
Because they've always been a people divided, see? Always divided. So if you go to any Welsh village, there's always two chapels.
Yeah.
It's divided, see? Oh, we don't go to that chapel.
Anyway, I was driving here this morning.
Yeah, go on.
Drove past my mate Dickie, who's a Swansea fan. Just rolled down the window. He went, "Swansea Cardiff in the Premiership today!
It was that exciting.
Tomorrow!"
Oh, that's good. I'm going 1-2.
Wait a second. Cardiff Swansea, you're going.
1-2.
1-2. Thank you for giving me it in the correct format.
Draw 2-2.
Draw 2-2. Calling a score draw. Never good, James. Cardiff are going to win this. No, I'm lying. Swansea are going to take it 1-0. The bench.
I would say Cardiff 1-0.
Cardiff 1-0. Okay. Bury versus Torquay. This is a big one in the in League Two. I tried to get Pele to do the prediction for this. That was why I wandered over to him.
wouldn't
and
let you near him.
pushed. No. I said no. I want to ask about the Bury Torquay to go on the bench. I thought it'd be funny. Go. We've got Pele on the show at this point, but he didn't. He just stroked this woman's back. What do you think, wench on the bench?
Bury 2-0.
You think Bury 2-0? Gavin,
I'm going 1-0
you going
to Bury.
1-0 to Bury. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be 3-1 to Bury actually. And James,
2-1 to Bury.
2-1 to Bury. I've gone for quite a high-scoring thing that I might not stay top of the league with that selection. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Romania to Talk Sport here in Hatfields. The wench on the bench. Well, that was the podcast, and do you know what I'm going to do? Rewind selector, because I'm going to start that podcast again and just soak up the show one more time. James, you're right.
Yeah, I'm great, mate.
Yeah, great. James, do you watch Boa Kemper? It's pathetic. James, did you enjoy the show this week?
Yes. Do you know what I like? I like when the listeners get interactive. And
It's good, isn't it?
Because you just can't. If we sat down and thought of some great
We
holiday
couldn't come up
bumping into
with-
footballers,
Yeah.
you wouldn't come up with.
No.
I was in an incredible Hulk ride.
Yeah, no, that's
with,
just
with
good.
Rude
Rude
Hullet.
Hullet.
So
Yeah.
let's keep those coming in, please. And also, who's banned? It also might be at your house, where if you have a particular house, you go a mate's house, you
Someone's
go around.
barred.
Yeah,
Are you on
No.
a ban?
He talks too much during games. He's banned. Yeah, I'm always banned for talking.
yeah.
I just have
What
to.
are you banned from? Apart from shortcake in the car, you pig.
God, do you know, at the moment, I'm even banned from one flower shop
Really?
after an argument. Yeah, I'm banned from a flower shop.
Were you arguing about how expensive the flowers were?
Yes.
Because it's ridiculous
They
how
are
expensive
absurd.
flowers are. They're like £10 each.
Considering there's no VAT on them.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
And
It's absurd.
also nature's gift.
Exactly.
You're right. Anyway, James Brown, thank you very much for another week. James, incidentally, I was asked, what's your website called?
Sabotage Times.
We can't promote it on this. Gavin, thank you very much for another week.
Thank you.
Absolutely superb work by the Woodman. I've been Johnny Vaughan. We'll talk to you next week. Bye. What a warm-up we had this week. Content-free. It really wasn't content-free to us. Actually, it wasn't that bad. We had some quite good stuff in
Just
there.
Premiership.
Prem. Just Prem.
Premiership.
It's not really
free.
a word or anything. We did have some great stuff from Alberto Del Rio, who failed in his attempt on Friday night to win the heavyweight championship at the World WWE against John Cena. It was a sad event, but he was our guest on the show, and my full interview with him for WWE fans is on there on the podcast, and I hope it will get a right slagging from sport. It's not sport. That's not sport.
Did you interview him in a dressing room or a toilet? Because he's got very echoey. Where
It was
did you
very
actually
echoey.
do him? Was it a
No,
corridor?
No, that's because I interviewed him on my iPhone in quite a big conference
Oh, that
room
was
at a
good.
hotel. It was all right. It was okay. It's okay.
You
It's
did
all right.
really did him on your iPhone.
I did him on my iPhone, yeah.
okay.
I did, yeah.
Nice.
Well, why does that offend you? You're
No,
gonna
it's good.
you're gonna get
It's
at me
modern
for it?
journalism, isn't it?
You're pathetic. Leeds United.
does
We had
not make
so many
I am
people.
being serious.
So many people text in to say, please just go Leeds United. Leeds United.
Yes, one.
If you have faced the problems we have faced at Leeds United. Anyway, do you know what? Let's not talk about Leeds United. Let's have a podcast. Oh, good morning. Welcome to the warm-up in association with Capital One, with me, Johnny Vaughan, on the day when the headline writers are handed a gift after England's 2-0 defeat against Chile. Chile con carnage, they're going with. It's a pun-heavy nation. The Big Chill and Hurty Sanchez, which is a bit naughty. Despite that, England fans certainly warming up for Brazil, having snapped up more than 28,000 World Cup tickets. Roy Keane and Martin O'Neill. There's dream teams, there's nightmare teams. They've produced a result that was the stuff of dreams. They remain in themselves the stuff of nightmares. But they've got off to a winning start with the Republic of Ireland beating Latvia 3-0. Warming up alongside me, the man with the definitive word on referees and more, the Woodman.
Morning, Johnny.
Morning, Vinny. How are you?
Very well. How are you?
Yeah, really, really, really perky. And Printrepreneur, the man, the ledge. Loaded with detail. Ladies and gentlemen, James Brown's here. Morning, James.
Morning, chaps. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you this morning?
I'm fantastic, actually. I've spent all week without any media, no internet. So we're going blind this morning. Nothing.
You say no intranet. You know, the last time I heard that was, which is, I don't know, it's a bit of a naughty story, but it just reminds me, I was once coming back from Norfolk, and I stopped off at a roadside garage, and I was just looking at the top shelf selection.
Anyway, moving on.
this
Fantastic
isn't-
result.
wait a second,
You mean
this
the
isn't-
Johnny Vaughan shelf?
Yeah, I hate the way my name has become a rhyming slang for that. It's no legacy for my children.
No, it isn't.
Because in years to come, they'll go, who was Johnny Vaughan? They go, years ago, there was an entertainer. And we're like the new Ruby Murray.
You are, yeah.
Anyway, the point is, I looked at this top shelf, and there was and this isn't too bad, believe me, the producers looking at me like, don't worry, I'm going to
Pensive is the word.
Yeah, anyway, but I looked at it, and on the top shelf, it said, it was one of those, you know those ones, that, what I call panic stations, those petrol stations you only go to when you've panicked off a motorway. You
Flowers.
think, we've got to go get some petrol. I don't know, just go on this next one. Left or right? We'll go left. And you get to the garage, and the shelves are sort of empty, a bit like East Europe in the bad old days.
And there's no wood left for the fires.
Yeah, and they've got mainly things like wood.
Wet,
and like
they've got wet
Do
wood.
you know what? You told us this last week off air. I don't think you should finish the story.
No,
it's fine. No, it's
all
fine.
right. It's fine.
It's fine. Anyway, but it was one of those. And I looked at the top shelf. And
Well,
there
it's been nice doing the show, Gav.
anyway, and this magazine it said there was over 40 big and bouncy, and then there was over 50 big and bouncy, and then there was a gap. So I shouted to the guy at the counter. I said, "Have you got no over 60 big and bouncy?" And he went, "All gone, I'm afraid." And I've gone, "Really?" He's gone, "Yeah. Pensioners, innit? No intranet." Anyway, you've had the similar sort of week there. No intranet for you.
No, but
how's it been, James?
No, but well, I've been watching a lot of television. I didn't have a television for 9 months. I've
love
just got
telly.
it back. Three things struck me, which is going to lead into our shout out today for on the @TS warm up. The Twitter feed is Martin Keown, match of the day last week. What was he wearing?
What was he wearing?
He looked like a slightly awkward uncle who was trying to relax at the weekend at a wedding or something the day after the actual wedding.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
He had a sort of a tweed jacket. It was all a bit stiff. He had a very sharp white shirt.
Yeah.
But he had the George Michael super graded stubble.
Super graded.
It was a really
Lovely,
weird
James.
combination. It's like the stylists on Match of the Day have gone from shiny shirts and different coloured collars
Yeah.
to this sort of ill-at-ease weekend attire.
Well, you know something, for my money, James, I don't know, Gav, you're going to agree with me on this.
What's that?
But, Gav, when you're watching sports, I like a desk there. I don't like to see, I've talked about it before, but I don't like to see trousers tenting. And
Belt buckles.
Yeah, I don't like to see belt buckles, but also Jamie Redknapp, for instance, he wears a tight trouser. He gets some tenting.
He does.
And I just
I think
don't
you're
want
right. I think even when you think about football nostalgia, look at those great. I think it was the 1974 World Cup. There's a brilliant picture of Malcolm Allison, Derek Dougan, Brian Clough.
A lot of tenting?
Behind a desk. They look like they're in charge.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the boss effect.
It's just people feel more comfortable with something to lean on, and they always they put everyone on Match Today at this sort of
Casual.
at this self-consciously huge distance that you would never speak
but
to
also-
anyone at a
With,
pub.
with a bit of a coffee table between them.
Yeah,
It's a
but
low
you're
table.
right, because if you're in a pub and you've got that setup, if you've got the low table but the
Yeah.
high chair, it doesn't work.
Of course it doesn't work.
No.
You want people look, English people are most comfortable hunched, close round a table or at a bar.
It needs to look like some kind of consultation.
Well, like us here. Look at us. We're around a large pub table.
What about if
Sorry,
the
breakfast
commentators
table.
just stood up? So they're all just milling around.
And
That'd
wandered
be quite
around.
good.
Yeah. They
It's
tried it
with
with the news, didn't they? They tried perching newscasters on the front of the desk casually.
Yes.
For the beginning.
Kirsty Young was the first.
Yes.
And what was interesting is when Kirsty Young started doing it, I observed at the time that she used to have some stories were a one buttock story.
Oh,
because they were a
and-
bit more
yeah, just
casual.
leaning
But when it
half
got
on
really
the-
serious, it would be a two buttock
Two
story.
buttocks,
she'd
yeah.
she'd stick both on the counter. And that's it, is that you knew it was going to be serious when she slightly rotated her abdomen and just put that other buttock there. You think, hello, someone's died.
We've gone from
that's
Martin Keown's stubble to Kirsty whatever's his backside.
That's the wonder of the warm-up. I was watching England-Chile last night, and I watched the highlights when I got back. And
from Norfolk on your shopping trip for magazines.
Actually, we'll talk about the internationals in the next. We haven't got a lot to talk about today.
That was my only moment of the week from last week was last night's game. Jorge Sampaoli, the coach from Chile, looked exactly like Paulie from Rocky.
No.
Yeah, don't you remember? You remember the guy that got the robot coming in saying,
Yeah.
hello, Paulie.
Yeah.
He looked exactly
Did he?
like him. Yeah. The guy's name's, what's his name? Burt Young, the actor.
Yeah. Is it Burt Young?
Yeah, Burt Young.
And he looked. Yeah. I'm just stunned at people today. I mean, obviously, everyone, we've got Chile con carnage. Roy flops. Find it far too hot. Wembley. I'm just.
I don't think Roy flopped.
No.
Because in football, people always say this. It's like there's only one game of football.
I know.
There isn't only one game of football. There's hundreds of games of football, and sometimes you don't win.
Aside from which, that was a training game.
Yeah, but it wasn't. They wanted to
No,
see a
but
lot of players.
Let's just not have these. I just
Yeah.
want the season to actually.
yes.
I want to engage with it.
No.
We've had so many England breaks. Why did we take a break from Premiership action? I know it's good because we get focus on the other divisions, but to take a break for that.
It's silly. If we had no breaks
Yeah.
at this part of the season, there'd be 6 extra weeks at the end of the season
Yeah.
to get the England team together, have a few friendlies, have a warm-up to the World Cup instead of a 3-week post-injury season nightmare where you've had to play so many games because of the international breaks as well.
Listen, guys, do you know what's happening at the moment? At the moment, as the season started, we have got 6 competitions at once. You know, if you count the FA Cup that's bubbling under, you know, you've got your Capital One Cup, you have the FA Cup, you've got the Premiership, you've got 2 European Cup, two European trophies, and you've got England there. We've had to get our heads around 6 narratives that are running at once. I'm sorry, there isn't a game that can sustain that, and because all the different channels have obviously got all the different TV stations, have obviously got rights to all these things. They're all pushing them. And what ends up is they are all just weakened and diminished at the start of the season by this.
There is one way around that.
What?
Support Ipswich.
Great advice. This is the warm-up. We will be taking you through. We've got so much on the show today. I don't know how we're gonna pack 20 minutes of content into this into the 2 hours that's coming your way. I mean, I've still got Crawley Town in a minute. We've got Back in Black coming up.
We have.
Do stay with the warm-up. In association with Capital One, the credit card that supports supporters. Sorry, I was at WWE Wrestling last night. We're back in a second. Stay with us.
Don't be shy. Join the proceedings by calling the show on 08717 223344. Email us via talksport.com, or you can tweet us at TSWarmup or text us at 81089. 50p plus normal semi-charges apply.
I've got that feeling we're back on air soon, lads.
I think that's going to happen any minute now, Johnny.
Should we put our trousers back on?
Well, you never know. They have... stick your trousers on. Gav, put a shirt on.
Yeah, sorry.
And take the clamps off.
God, it's like a changing room in here.
These towels are small, aren't they?
They really are small.
Throw another ladle of water on the hot rocks, please, Johnny.
Anyway, welcome back to the warm-up. It is 11:17. You're listening to TalkSport. I'm Johnny Vaughan, joined as ever by the Woodman, Gavin Woods, and Prince-Entrepreneur James Brown. We're hoping to get John Fashanu on at this time. Control, is Fash there or not? Fashanu isn't there. So I'd like to just make a proposal at the start of this bit of the show. What I think we should have for the first half of the season, this is my advice. And I say this warily, because there's six competitions effectively we've had to go with at the start of this season. I haven't engaged with this season in the way I used to, simply because football grew in popularity because, as well as being, you know, a great game, it was a weekly episode. Find out what happens
The
next
soap
week
opera
to your
factor.
team.
Yeah.
There's the soap opera factor of people engaging with their team. So I think at the start of the season there should just be your league competition going and the Capital One Cup. And I think the Capital One Cup, the League Cup, I think the final should always be on Boxing Day. Always. It just runs for the first half of the season and everyone can sit round and it makes it the day of sport and we've got a final there. Otherwise, it can get buried in. You've got the FA Cup running and you've got all those things going.
Sounds good.
So I'd have first half of the season, then second half of the season, we're into that. I'll tell you what I'm going to do with Europe a little bit later because you're going to find that exciting. Right now, though, we've got John Fashanu.
Done the finger on the ear.
Why do I do that?
He's not even going to a
David
ground.
Coleman. You put the finger on the ear.
Sebastian Coe and Coe is over extraordinary. Oh my God! I think I've climaxed a lap early. I don't know if you remember that on Spitting Image. It's quite an obscure reference. John Fashanu.
Somebody gon' get their ass kicked. Somebody gon' get their wheels lit. Somebody gon' get their ass kicked. Somebody gon' get their wheels lit. Beat 'em up, break his neck, break his neck. Beat 'em up, break his neck. I never stand by, how could I be scared of?
Yes, indeed. Fash is here. What appropriate music he's got. It is Mark Henry's walk-on theme at the WWE, but it'll do for John this morning. How are you, John?
I'm feeling very well. A little bit disappointed with our performances, but apart from that, I'm okay.
You've come in to talk football. How are you? What did you think last night, Fash?
Well, like everybody else, very disappointed. I mean, you know, it's not something which we expected. If we can't beat the Chilis of this world, where the heck are we? You know, one would question what's going on. And we have got good talent in our country.
We've
so
got
I'm
great
disappointed.
talent. I was even more surprised because I was watching the Adrian Charles and the gang, and what amazed me. Sorry, it's not a time to start marching. What have you got, like? It sounds like you got sort of Nazis arriving. I'm not kidding. That was like the
German just preparing.
Yeah, that's right. Put the army in the back room.
No, I'm just saying it sounds like the sound effect they use on World at War. The generic Nazis on the move sound.
It didn't. It sounded like a really cheap drum.
It sounded really odd. They've got two sound effects on that show.
Holidays in the Sun, it sounded like.
It was a bit like Holidays in the Sun. Anyway, let's proceed. We'll carry on like that never happened. What amazed me, John, is that it's Adrian Charles and the lads. They were sort of saying, great win there for Northern Ireland, for Ireland, and they were saying what a great win it was for them. He said, but not really up against stiff opposition. I'm thinking Latvia, England would have struggled with that one. That
would have
been
made a problem out of it.
We'd have made a problem out of that one. They looked so sharp last night. They really did.
Yeah, it did. And I think we've got to, so there's people who've got to say what is going on. We really have to. I mean, we've got Germany, what is it, on Tuesday? Yeah. My goodness me, that's... Where do we go if we lose against Germany?
Well, they drew last night with Italy, didn't they?
Yes, which is that's a good result. That's an okay result.
Yeah, well, it was actually in Italy, but I sort of think we couldn't beat either of them. Anyway.
John, when you watched that game last night, did it bring a warm glow to your heart, remembering your debut against Chile for England?
Do you know what? In actual thought, the first thing that came in my head was, wow, it is hard work. And I thought, thank God it is over. Because going out there, wearing an England shirt, the responsibility, the pressure on your back is something else.
Do you think they still feel that? Do you think they still feel that?
Yes.
I get a sense sometimes that our top players think, I've got to play for England.
Yeah, especially in a friendly. In a friendly, they don't want to get injured.
Yeah, but that's why you have games like that where you put 8 young guys on who get a chance to.
It's a training game.
I don't know why. For some reason, when you say 8 young guy,
wasn't he playing?
No, 8 young guy wasn't there. John, listen. We're talking about football. Just fast. Lay off the football. How do you used to warm up? How do you used to warm up for games?
Oh, it was some of my nice martial arts stretches. A few high kicks. Yeah. Guys, intimidation was always the best at Wimbledon. So a few high kicks, a few stretches, 1 or 2 things like that, just to show them what they have in store, what we have in store. Always used to intimidate the boys when we were with the crazy gang.
And John, I saw an interview with you where you used to make a point of finding out the referee's name and his wife's name and his kids' names, and you'd have a little chat with him before the game. Is that right?
Oh yes,
because he'd let you have a free. He'd let you have a free one early on.
That's a bit gangster. What do you do? Give him an 8 by 10.
I always go to.
Sorry, yeah, go on, Fash.
Yeah, I'd always get the referee's name. I would get his wife's name, the kids, and I'd always any opportunity I got during the match, I would say, "Hey, Ralph. How's the little one? He's only 8 now. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Can I say something? Yeah. Can I just say something? That's exactly the sort of thing the mafia do. I mean, what do you do at half time? Leave an 8 by 10 of his wife picking the kids up from school in his dressing room
in a brown envelope.
I'm just saying, it's a bit. We know where you live. Oh yeah. How's the kids? Well, he's happy at school, is he? What's the other little one you've just had? Fernando, is it?
Fash, what did you used to eat at Wimbledon? Because it's you're renowned for the intimidation and the sort of hijinks. Was the diet any good?
Yeah, well, we didn't. It was just whatever comes along, you eat it. It's as simple as that. We didn't have the money to start dieting and being choosy. We were the modern day mafia, really, because we were a lot of guys who had come from a humble background. We were a strong team, and we had a lot of camaraderie. And that's what really took us through.
It really did, didn't it? I mean, you had such a team spirit. I don't think we've seen it before or since.
No.
Fash?
Well, I'm actually thinking that most people love to hate us, but they loved it. They had a secret, love for Wimbledon, even though most people would hate us and want to beat us up all the time, but they had a secret love for us as well.
Why'd you wear that bandage in the '88 final against Liverpool on your arm?
Would you believe it? I think earlier on, about 2 days before, there'd been some ridiculous front-page story in the newspaper saying that I'd had 3 girlfriends or whatever, some nonsense, I don't know what it was. And I think that in anger, I saw Vinnie Jones hit the door, and I did the same thing, but unfortunately I broke my knuckle at the same time, so it wasn't too clever.
I tell you what comes to mind there is just someone's mum going, and I suppose if Vinnie hit a door, you'd hit a door as well. And it turns out, yes.
Yes.
He would do. Although I do...
Normally it was our head. Normally it was their head, so it was lucky.
Although I remember my mum used to say to me, if I'd done something similar, she said, "Oh, well, if he jumped over a cliff, I suppose you'd follow him." I'm thinking, do you know what? What a rubbish analogy that is.
Yeah, because you just wouldn't, would you?
You wouldn't, because you'd see them go over a cliff, and you know what? You'd very quickly see the result.
You wouldn't fancy
You'd
it.
see there wasn't upward movement. You'd see them getting shattered on the rocks, and you'd think, you know what? No, I'm not going for that one.
That's right.
So I always think, if you're out there, mums, don't use that one. The logic of it doesn't weigh up, because gravity, it's only a couple of seconds before you know they're not going to pull out of that dive when people go over cliffs.
Fash, today we're finding out the worst dressed footballers anyone's ever seen.
And you are in our top 10.
No, what was the? No, you're not, Fash. You're not.
You're not,
he does
joking.
martial arts. What's the strangest or worst piece of attire you've ever seen a player turn up to a game in?
I think I've got to be very, very honest. I hate to say it. He's a great footballer. Nobody ever doubted that.
Go on. I like it already. Who?
Peter Beardsley. Oh my God!
And what was he wearing?
It was worrying. Red tie. It had a blue and white jacket, and his black trousers, which were actually too short for him. Terrible dressing.
I'll tell you something. It's always a sign of something bad. If people, I always think if people can't judge trouser length, beware.
They're worried about a flood.
No, they just mean something's gone wrong there. Because if you look in a mirror and you sort of think, a full-length mirror, you think, are these trousers the right length?
Why did they leave the house?
Yeah, well, no, I'm not sure. What's the right length?
It's supposed to break on the laces and hit the heel at the back, isn't it?
You're exactly right, Gav. Yeah. But the thing is about Peter, he had the looks to get away with it. He's a clothes horse.
Well, and that's being nice to him. That's being very nice to him.
Very nice.
Fash, it's I'm a Celebrity starts tomorrow night. How did you warm up for that? Because people will remember that you were the runner-up of the first ever one.
Okay.
Well, again, it was, remember we came out with something from Awuga from the Gladiators. This one was now Focus. Focus. I used the martial arts this time to get myself focused, to calm myself down, to try, to be honest, I was very, very scared. High heights, snakes, all those things.
Yeah.
I can't push it away. They were quite scary.
Yeah.
But it pushed you to go on and on and on. It was the same sort of Wimbledon story. When everyone thinks you're going to lose, you come out there and win.
Okay. Did you ever use martial arts or any martial arts skills on the pitch, on the field of play at football? Did you ever use any martial arts or any of your training?
Yes.
Yes.
Quite regularly.
Excellent.
Well
done for admitting it.
No, I'm just interested.
I'm very honest.
What martial arts move is most easily inserted into the beautiful
Elbow
game?
in the ribs.
Well, I found that my martial arts was what would actually stop me from getting injured.
Okay.
Because my training was such that I would train 6 hours every day, martial arts.
Okay.
So when it came to tackles, when it came to rolling over, when it came to somebody catching my elbow, because, of course, if I'm training every day with wood and metal on my arms,
yes.
If your arm comes in contact with your head comes in contact with my arm, then you're going to lose.
Yeah, you are going to lose because you're used to things that are harder than mere bone.
Fash,
you're used to steel and
Zlatan
wood.
Ibrahimovic uses the same technique. He's a martial arts.
Yeah, I was going
expert,
to because he's a martial arts.
He
Fash,
really is, yeah.
Did you ever have a workout with another footballer like Bolo Zenden or anyone like that who's a martial arts expert? Do you ever set up a friendly fight during a game or no?
No, I wouldn't. The best idea.
That's a ludicrous question I've heard, James. I love what you're doing, James.
No.
I just can imagine him saying, "Hey, do you fancy a fight on Thursday?"
John, I've got to ask you one more question here. You host Nigerian Deal or No Deal.
Yes.
Now, Nigerian businessmen are notorious for trying to get a good deal, to say the least. And I'm trying not to produce any stereotypes here. I mean, how tough is that?
Well, the Deal or No Deal has gone to #1. It's a great show out here, doing very, very well. I mean, it's not easy, but you must remember that this is the 6th largest oil-producing country in the world.
Yeah.
So most of the time, people are trying to grab what is not theirs illegally. So you have to be, you have to have 6 eyes in your head.
It's also got a bigger population than Russia, you'll all be delighted to hear.
Really?
Yeah, Nigeria lies above Russia in the world populations, and Russia, they're just sitting above Japan. Interesting
You
statistic.
said that with a lot of confidence, Johnny.
I said it to no, but I'm just saying that Nigerian deal or no deal. I used to work in a shop. We used to get a clothes shop. We used to get a lot of Nigerian customers, and I just can't imagine there ever being a conclusion to deal or no deal. I just imagine the haggling must go on,
forever,
because it was never a deal. You're talking about a load of people that I met that only ever see a price tag as a starting point,
Yes.
as an indication of what the shop thinks it's worth. But I quite like that mentality. You see a price tag and you think, no, that's not necessarily
beginning of it.
Yeah, that's the beginning.
Well, something like that. But it's the most popular show now in Nigeria.
Oh, well done,
we have
matey.
a population, as you said, of 200 million. So it's an enormous country and doing very well.
Okay, listen, and you're doing very well, John, and thank you very much for joining us on the warm-up. I know you got lots on. Thank you very much for all you gave the game. Great to have you on the show. Let's give him a big hand, ladies and gentlemen. John Fashanu.
Thanks, John.
There we go, John Fashanu on your warm-up. Sorry if we got a bit excitable there and people were talking over each other, but this really is the only half of the show where we've got any real content. So go elsewhere now. No, don't. Actually, we've got still loads to come. We've got Gav's going to take you through Back in Black. I've got an extraordinary interview with Alberto Del Rio, who lost last night. If you weren't there, his heavyweight championship, his world heavyweight championship bout there against John Cena.
And we've got all the worst dressed football you've ever seen tweets coming in.
For me, Barry Venison every time. I'll tell you why in a second.
Hit the sack. Is he just thinking of words that phrases that rhyme? Yeah, that'll do. That's 3 words. Yeah.
Let's get me hanging around. Gav, Robbie Savage has spoken out against
yesterday
the refs.
he's decided those 2 massive decisions last weekend at Stamford Bridge and the Liberty Stadium were so poor. Robbie Savage has decided
They were appalling.
that we need to stop mollycoddling the rest, and we need to make them answer for why they've made the decisions they've made. Because they used to speak to the press, didn't they, after games? And the PGMOs decided they don't like that. But when even Robbie writes, when even a mild-mannered coach like Michael Laudrup blows his top at a non-existent handball, we're all in trouble.
Yeah,
He's
well,
saying-
listen, here's the deal. It's really clear, is you've got to take refereeing out of the hands of FIFA. I know I've gone about this every week, but FIFA do not own the rules for football. They're an English thing. They belong to our FAs here. No, wait, James. They belong to our FAs here. There is no reason why the same body that is responsible for all the football clubs.
Why even have referees refereeing? What about that big matronly woman with the white hair from How Clean Is Your House?
Oh, she'd sort them out straight away.
She would just have
Joe Frost, Super Nanny.
Well, Robbie himself reckons...
Super Nanny, sort of maternal, strong women managing the games.
Absolutely.
Your behaviour is unacceptable. You will have to live with that. That behaviour is unacceptable. Well, you're having a naughty step.
Steven Gerrard, naughty step.
Naughty step. No, but I just think
it'd be brilliant.
Is that we've got to stop FIFA controlling the game in the way they do. You can't control the clubs and the rules. The point about it is the rules. They're like the preacher men of the rules, you know. They're like the way judges represent the law. They shouldn't be part of the people who are part of the populace of football. It's time we really took the rules back and started deciding how we're going to sort out the game of football, because it's okay, here's a different attitude. I interviewed Alberto Del Rio last night. Now, he failed in his World Heavyweight Championship bout against John Cena at the WWE. But here's a question I asked him about his attitude to referees and some of the worst things that happened. And this is the way it could go.
I have done several things.
Like what?
Kick them, punch them, put them through tables. One time I hit one with the chair and he was bleeding for it. Of course, it was not with WWE. It was when I was working in Japan. And
What'd you do to referee you?
I hit him with the chair in the head, and he was just, I don't know, bleeding for like 10 minutes.
So there you go. So it's a very different attitude to
it's slightly different, isn't it?
Attitude. Gav,
can you imagine if you saw Michael Laudrup running on
and hit the ref with a chair?
I'm just saying there are. I interviewed him because there are other angles here. There's other ways to look at it.
But actually, you could only send him to the stands.
Yeah.
What else could he do?
Exactly right. Okay. West Brom have asked referees for video replays.
Yeah, because of that decision against Stephen Reid, they're going to meet with the PGMO and ask them to explain Why they think they've lost 7 points, and there've been decisions that they've lost the game in the last minute, so it has really cost them points. 7 points, and they must be furious. It's really frustrating for them. So they're asking for why can't we re-look at penalty calls, because they're so important. Penalty calls are so important.
It's like if balls cross the line. I know I bang on about it every week, but when Frank Lampard, scored for England and that goal was disallowed, and it made a difference, they worked out.
How much time would it have really wasted to look at it?
No, but again, 800 million to the British economy. I always say that goal alone worth, say, $1 billion to the British economy.
Is that right?
Something like that. In terms of off sales,
we played brilliantly at that point as well.
We really did. Yeah. But in terms of, and my point at the time, because the day after that, and I know I bang on about it, I'm a boring person, but but my son kicked a ball out of JD Sports while we're in there, and as soon as the ball crossed the threshold of the shop, the alarm went off, and I'm thinking that ball's worth $9.99, and they know when it's crossed the shop doorway, and that's just a tiny sticker on the outside of the ball. This technology is acceptable. Gav, last question here for you. The Russian ref.
Oh, yes.
3 penalties in 3 minutes for one team.
It was less than 3 minutes. You've got to have a look at it online. We might even get it up on the TalkSport website. I'm not sure if they've managed to do that yet.
Are you starting to use stuff?
I am. I'm getting involved.
I don't think so. You look at them.
No.
They're not even looking at us.
Steve mentioned they'll get it on later, probably. Between Terek Gronzi 2 and Alania 2, the ref. There were 3 incidents in the penalty area, and the ref gives a pen for a fairly soft dive. It was a dive, and then
soft dive.
It was a soft pen. It was a bad dive. They miss the pen.
Yeah.
And the play, they kick off again. The play comes back, and they're in the penalty area again. Another dive. He gives another pen, and he misses the penalty again.
Yeah.
But the goalie saves it. The ball comes back out, and there's another ridiculous dive, and the ref gives it again.
Yeah.
And eventually they score, and they go on to win. It's hilarious. I mean, it just looks.
I'll check. I'm going to give that. I'm going to have a watch of that, as they say.
Have a look at it. It's hilarious.
When I get home, I will have a watch of that.
Nico's tweeted us. His Danish Superliga team AGF are currently playing in these army away kits this year, and he sent a picture of. They've basically got a camouflage kit, but really weirdly, the photograph normally shows 3 players with their arms crossed, looking really butch.
Yeah.
He's got one player trying to take the other bloke's shorts down.
That's weird. That's a very, very strange.
Have a look online at AGF's Army Away Kits. A very camp photograph. He's looking into his shorts.
Okay, we'll stick that. Or have a. Where can they see that again, James?
Just stick it in the Google Images.
Okay.
AGF Army Away Kits. A very camp. And their sponsor is called UC.
I don't think it's pronounced like that, James, but I like what you're doing, you cheeky monkey. Oh, you cheeky monkey. This is the warm-up on TalkSport, where we've just concluded that football, well, it's our recipe. FIFA merely bottle it and distribute it around the world. They haven't got worldwide rights on it. It is an English game. We should take control of the rules. I don't want to see any refs with FIFA on their shirts anymore. I want the International Football Rules Association. We own football. It's very different from running clubs. There needs to be that separation. Different people running the actual teams and the competitions as there are running the rules. You don't have the public running the courts. Simple as that. This is your warm-up. It's 11:56. We're back in a second. It's time for the predictions. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Are we ready for this? We're joined by Alberto Del Rio. The great thing about Alberto Del Rio, well, it used to be. He's dropped him now, which I was a bit disappointed about. But he's the only wrestler who at the start goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the personal ring announcer of Alberto Del Rio,
He gets an
Rodrigo Rodriguez," and he gets his own guy to do it in. And I know this, to do it in Mexican.
At the top of the show.
Right.
You should do that.
Yeah, Roberto Rodriguez.
Rodrigo
Rodriguez.
Rodrigo Rodriguez, who does it in Mexican. I don't speak very good Mexican, but anyway, welcome to the show, Alberto Del Rio. Let's have the predictions here. Alberto, well, first game is Leyton Orient versus Preston. Alberto, how are you going with this one?
I will go with Preston. Just 1-0.
He's going with Preston. He's absolutely live here in the studio. I don't think that sounded edited in. He's going with Preston 1-0, so that's 0-1. Leyton Orient versus Preston. I think Leyton are actually going to win that. I'm going to reverse that score. I think it's going to be 1-0 to Preston. 1-0 to Leyton. Gav?
I've gone 2-1.
Oh, God, not again!
It's ridiculous.
It's no wonder we're anchored to the bottom. Every
you know
week
what?
you copy my thing.
Do you know what? I actually wrote mine out and hid them from James so that we wouldn't have the same scores, and we've gone the same way again.
Go on, then. What is it?
What it is a few weeks ago I had a look
2-1.
at the average game in average goal score in every game
It's
is
2-1.
Is 3 goals.
Oh, is it? Wow.
Is it?
That's the anyway, 2-1 to Leighton Orient.
Thank you. 2-1 to Leighton Orient. I've got you down for that. The staggering thing is, if you score first in a football game, there is an 80% chance you will win and a 90% chance you won't lose.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Just actually,
Didn't-
John, I've got.
didn't
Wait,
you
wait,
know
no, James. I've got a recap here because the bench are at the top of the league at the moment with 19 points.
That woman, that Romanian woman, she gets it exactly right
gets
every
it
week.
bang on with the scores and
Last
everything.
week, the bench predicted Forest would beat Leicester City 2-0. She's only got one right there. I got two.
She got the exact score right.
I got two right last week. I predicted Man United win over Arsenal and a Forest win. But unfortunately, you only get 1 point for predicting a result rather than the actual scoreline. So I'm second with 16 points, and James Brown and Gavin Woods there at the foot of the table.
Bringing up the rear.
With 12, we're bringing up the rear with 12 points each. Alberto Del Rio, County versus Wolves. What do you think?
It's going to be a tie.
You think it's going to be a tie?
Let's give them a tie.
You're going to think it's going to be a tie?
I think so.
Okay. And what's the score going to be? Was 1-1, 2-1, 3-1? What?
Let's go with zeros.
They're going to
0-0.
score with zeros. He thinks 0-0. Not scared. It's amazing that a Mexican wrestler with no knowledge of the England game.
He's really plugged in.
He really is keyed into it. He does love football, though.
Especially League One, I think.
I think County are going to do this. I'm really feeling for the County. As soon as I said it, I thought, no, it's going to be Wolves win. Sorry, 0-2 to Wolves. James?
1-2, Wolves win.
1-2, Wolves win. Gavin?
I'm going 1-0.
You're going 1-0 for County. Thank you very much indeed. Bristol Rovers versus Bury. Gavin?
0-1.
0-1. Thank you very much. I'm going to go Rovers versus Bury. I'm feeling 1-2 there. James?
It's a tie.
Is it a tie?
1-1.
1-1. You going 1-1?
With ones. It's a tie with ones.
Alberto Del Rio?
Well, I'm going to go with Barry. 2-1.
Bury 2-1. Thank you very much there for Alberto Del Rio. Oh, I'm sad to say, failed his an attempt to win the World Heavyweight Championship at the WWE. But as my son pointed out, he was never going to win it when it wasn't on telly. Well, I thought you were outstanding this week, Gavin.
Thank you very much. That was Gavin Woods involved as well.
What do you see as your highlight this week, Gav?
Jose Mourinho calling Jonas Olsen a Mickey Mouse player.
The Mickey substitution is fantastic.
You know what, as well, I had a nice little line sent to me this week, and that was that Danny Mills this week was asked at some sort of players' Q&A thing what the best manager he ever played for. Yeah. And he said, I can't tell you the best, but the worst manager I ever played for was David O'Leary, whose one team talk was, just do it.
Just do it now.
Well, he's just looking around and saw a Nike ad and thought, I'll just steal that, no one will notice. Do you know what I always thought was a real missed chance? You know Ping, the people who make the golf clubs?
Yes.
Well, when their man, Bubba Watson, when he won the Masters, and he said what I thought was one of the most moving comments ever. He was asked, how he felt because he's got a new son. He's won the Masters for the first time.
He's having a good year.
He's just having a great year. And they said how does he feel now, and what did he think about this in the past? And he just said, I never got this far in my dreams. I thought, you know what? Ping, you've really missed an opportunity just to have Bubba Watson there going, I never got this far in my dreams. Ping, get there.
Yeah.
Just beautiful, you know. They missed it. They're not as smart as me.
Golfers usually thank God.
Yeah.
as if God. They usually think they have humility when they say that because they're saying it wasn't me, it was God's design. But what they're doing is they're saying that God chose him. To win the tournament.
I think it's because they know.
It's not very humble, is it?
No, but because they know there's so many elements of chance that come into golf. The chances of getting that thing into that hole. So I guess they're a bit more conscious of.
Who's that golfer who was really off the, like to drink and all of that?
John Daly.
So John Daly, great headline, American. I think it was on Newsweek or Time, and it said before John Daly can beat Jack Nicklaus, he'll have to beat Jack Daniels. Front page of a magazine, brilliant headline.
I'll finish with this. John, he wrote a country and western song called because he writes country and western songs.
Okay. John Daly,
and he's been divorced a few times. John, he wrote. All my exes wear Rolexes. Beautiful. That was the warm up. We'll speak to you next week. Here's a bit of a podcast extra for about 4 of you. It's me in conversation with Alberto Del Rio from WWE. I hope you enjoy it. It's quirky, it's different. Alberto, welcome to the warm-up.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you here. How do you normally warm up for wrestling?
Well, I do a lot of things because we're normally at the place at the venue like 4 or 5 hours before the show starts, and once the show starts.
But how do you get yourself in the combat mindset?
Well, I start focusing on the match just like 30 minutes before.
30 minutes before?
Yeah.
And what do you do?
Before that, I'm just on the phone with my family.
With your family.
Just trying to keep my mind clear and not think about wrestling until it's time to go.
Okay, but how do you get that aggression, that combative nature you're going to need in the ring? How do you get the anger there? How do you bring the pain?
Well, once I'm about to go into the ring is when I start doing movements, wrestling movements, amateur wrestling movements, some boxing, some shadow boxing, jump rope. And of course, I have all the trainer staff. Yeah.
What about to get that anger though? To get that anger, you need. You just think of Rey Mysterio, and that does it.
No, not really. Once I'm out there and I feel the audience, once I feel the energy in the building, it comes naturally.
Okay. A very quick question: what do you eat before? What's your last meal before you go on?
Just salads.
Salads.
The day when I have to.
Slightly disappointing. I'm a bit disappointed. You're quite a hero to know that you just go for salads. I got to tell you, it's
I try not to eat anything 5 hours before my match. That way, I'm not heavy when I'm.
You don't go for like chili, lots of chili and stuff.
That's the day before.
That's the day
after the show.
Okay. What is we were talking about referees earlier in the show. What's some of the worst arguments? What's the worst argument you've had with a referee? What's the worst thing you've done to a referee?
I have done several things.
Like what?
Kick them, punch them, put them through tables. One time I hit one with the chair and he was bleeding for it. Of course, it was not with WWE. It was when I was working in Japan. And what did you do to referee you? I hit him with the chair in the head, and he was just, I don't know, bleeding for like 10 minutes or something.
Okay, it's good.
But I mean, it's different in Japan than how it is in WWE.
It is. It certainly is. I mean, that's quite a tough thing to do to a ref there. Okay, I've got to ask you now about to predict some score lines here. Now, this is really important. Every week, this week you're representing the bench. Okay. So the first thing is, who do you think's going to win? Leyton Orient or Preston? And what do you think the score's going to be? Leyton Orient versus Preston.
I will go with Preston.
Preston, a score?
Just 1-0.
1-0. So you think it's going to be 1-0 Preston. Okay. Notts County versus Wolves.
Notts County.
It's
going to be a tie.
You think it's going to be a tie?
Let's give them a tie.
You're going to think it's going to be a tie?
I think so.
Okay. And what's the score going to be? Was 1-1, 2-1, 3-1? What?
Let's go with zeros.
Zeros? You think it's going to be 0? Okay. I'll tell you what, you're doing as well as most of us. And last up, and this is a big game at the foot of the Sky Bet Division 2, Bristol Rovers versus Bury.
I'm going to go with Bury.
You're going to go with Bury?
2-1.
2-1.
Yeah.
So you think it's Bristol Rovers 1, Bury 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Do you enjoy soccer?
Yeah, I love soccer, but I don't know those teams.
Don't worry. Neither does anyone in Britain. Welcome to the warm-up podcast. James, great show this week.
Yeah, it was for yeah.
No,
yeah.
What?
I thought it was good.
I just saw James nod on the radio.
Nods don't really work on radio.
He nodded.
James, some good
show. It was a good show.
What would you like him to tweet in about this week?
I don't know. You haven't worked it out.
Okay.
It takes a while.
It does take a while.
But it's always worth checking. Follow us at TS Warm-Up. By the end of the week, we'll have worked out what we want you to tell.
How many followers we got? About, what, 20?
7,000.
7,000.
Is that all?
Yeah, but we've only been going 6 weeks.
It's still bugger all, though, isn't it? It's a bit depressing.
Well, it's the bloke who does the main one on the station. He's too protective. He won't use it to
That's rubbish.
populate and promote the other.
I reckon Bob's
shows.
saying not follow. He's doing something where you click it. No. Oh, yeah. Good morning. Welcome to the warm-up in association with Capital One. I'm Johnny Vaughan on the day when, ahead of the Merseyside derby, Everton boss Roberto Martinez, or I like to call him Martinez, says that he's glad that he turned down the chance to manage Liverpool. Great trash talk pre-game. And Jose Mourinho insists that Mike Riley's apology to West Brom for awarding a dodgy penalty has set a dangerous precedent. We've got Back in Black today. Gavin will be responding to that. That's the Woodman. Chelsea's game against West Ham is live on TalkSport today at 5:30. Warming up alongside me, the man with the definitive word on referees and more. Ladies and gentlemen, Vinny Woods, the Woodman's here.
Good morning, Johnny.
Morning, Gav. And Printrepreneur. It's a savage time. James Brown, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning, lads.
Morning, James.
How are you this week? We all right?
I'm
Yeah.
great.
All perky?
Yeah.
I see Bob was in a feist. It's a
Yeah.
lie. It's a lie.
But he's done it the wrong way round. It's
Oh,
the
it's
Indian peace symbol.
peace symbol. No,
He's also done a drawing of you and just put a sort of a big stabbing through it.
yeah, I saw that. There's a photograph of me in the a photo card they just brought out. They've got about 1,000 of them in the lobby, and none of them have been taken. And Bob has written turmoil on my forehead on every single card.
Turmoil.
He's just written turmoil on my, and it really is. It's quite upsetting. Anyway, I think when I came in, he was fighting with another news guy.
I thought this was him on the front of the mirror. But it's
No, that's ridiculous.
no, totally different.
James, hold it off.
Stop it
Hold
now,
it off. Gav, your sporting week. Have you been enjoying the lovely break we had for England?
I have. It was fascinating. I mean, after all the discussions all week and all the TV programmes and everything, I am now convinced, Johnny.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that Lee Harvey Oswald was acting on his own.
Yes.
Well, he wasn't acting on his own, but he's the one who shot JFK.
That's
he
it.
is the one who shot them.
He just did it.
The bullet didn't come from the front.
You can ask him. He's coming into the show later.
Is he? Lee Harvey Oswald on the show. Do you know what? I tell you what it is. All the conspiracies around JFK. Do you know what they all are? Do you know what it is? It's a load of people just trying to desperately cover up the fact they didn't do their job that day.
Yeah.
That one lone guy can just gun down the most powerful man on earth. So what they do is have to say, CIA, want it? Because if you look at any film that's kind of got any military involvement in it, you can sort of see the US military took part.
Yes.
They always want to make out that our good guys are badder than their bad guys.
Yes.
So no one shoots our president unless we do.
Unless we
Yeah, they're
say
always
so.
shooting the presidents, aren't they? Isn't he about the
Not
fourth
really.
bloke?
No, there's only two of them.
No,
there was a third guy. as well.
Lincoln, and there was one other, and JFK, and the
Yeah.
one before that was at the turn
Reagan.
of the century.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, they've shot 4 presidents.
All right, this isn't really sport, guys. But yes, it
well,
was.
it is if you're into shooting.
No, but it
the
was.
Olympics.
It's all, most conspiracy theories that are out there at the moment, Gav, they are all obfuscation after the fact.
yeah.
They are.
It's a load of people just trying to cover themselves and just go, no, it wasn't actually. It was what it was. It was Bay of Pigs, Mafia, CIA.
Yeah.
Loads of them involved secretly. Elvis was there.
That would have been a good show, wouldn't it?
I'm pretty convinced it was the mafia.
Baywatch of Pigs.
Baywatch of Pigs.
The Baywatch of
Like
Pigs.
CIA invade Cuba, led by
Yeah.
Pamela Anderson in a red, swimming costume.
I like it.
I always preferred Erica Eleniak, but I think that was for her appearance in
She's in Under Siege,
Under
yes.
Siege when she comes out the cage. I mean, out the cake.
yeah.
Not the cage. Sorry, that's my own domestic.
A lot of,
Remember
lot of
when,
pausing going on in that.
Yeah.
And also at the end, Steven Seagal, when someone says, "Show us your move,"
And he kisses
and
her.
Casey Ryback, he says, "Here's my move," and then kisses her. It's the
Okay, I'll tell you
corniest
something.
ending to a film ever.
No. The best thing is the gulp of death.
What's that?
When in Under Siege, Seagal moves his jacket over he moves the dead admiral's coat.
Yes.
Over his face.
Yes.
Yeah, because he's dead. He looks up and he gulps once. It's
That's him crying for weeks.
No, it's the gulp.
military
It's
style.
the gulp that was heard round the world. And as soon as he's gulped, you know everybody is gonna die.
Yeah.
Anyway, lads, on the football front, I have to say well, I don't have to say it, but I'm so cross with the FA at the moment. This England thing. Was it worth it?
No.
For Croatia and the it just wasn't worth it, right?
No. We didn't learn anything, really.
We learned nothing.
Croatia.
Roy didn't
Not
find it.
Croatia.
Chile.
I mean Chile. And
Same
Chile.
place.
It's not.
And the Germany game.
It's cold, it's foreign.
No, but the worst thing is we played Germany and we actually looked like an old German side. I'm thinking we really are wearing their
And they look like Ireland.
They look like Ireland.
Yeah.
That's right.
At least, please, could you look like yourself?
That's true. That is true. I actually thought that as well.
They did, yeah.
I turned on it, just didn't look like... I couldn't engage with it. It looked like Germany,
I was waiting
Ireland.
to see John Sheridan stop playing the ball around.
Yeah.
Andy Townsend popping up.
Hey, you know what? The Times, speaking of sports...
Yes.
The Times today have got a cracking, massive interview with...
We'll be the judge of that.
With Mike Tyson.
Have they?
Yeah, and the headline is a very small headline. It says, "Did you enjoy hurting people?" Yes.
He loved hurting people.
Great headline.
In another interview I've seen with him, he goes, he was just after a fight, and Tyson was going, and when I hit him, I hit him really hard, and he heard him go, like a little girl.
Yeah.
He's describing the joy of hitting someone, how they squealed like a little girl. I'm thinking, he hits them too.
I read an interview with Tyson when he was just starting his career, and he said that him and Custamato were trying to cultivate a punch that would make a grown man scream. That's a terrifying thought.
Terrifying thought. What, an evening in with Cust and Mike?
Oh, my God.
Trying to think up the man's screamer.
Worst punch ever, yeah.
Anyway, do you know what? We've got so much to cover today. We've got so many people coming in. So many good people on the phone. We've got Dean.
We've got Dean Windass, yeah.
Dean Windass.
Gav, signature noise.
Oh.
Thank you. It's just, I just think if you were Dean Windass, you'd have to have your signature guff. Sorry.
How did you two come up with that?
I don't know.
Do you work on that this
whenever I say Dean Windass.
You should explain what he's doing there.
Gav can just squelch his hands. It's one of those childish things that he can do.
Because Hull got City of Culture, didn't they, for 2017?
They did. It really
so
surprised
it's been a big
me.
week for Hull.
Really surprises me.
Why does that surprise you?
Because I've been up to Hull a few times.
Have you really?
Yeah, I have. I used to have mates up in Ferriby.
Oh, right.
And in North Ferriby, just by the Humber Bridge.
Yeah.
And I had one of the most extraordinary experiences of my life when I went up to Hull. One of the weirdest things ever. I'm just trying to think, can I discuss it on air? But it was really weird.
Well, I tell you, why don't you discuss it whilst the break's on?
Yeah.
I'll discuss it while the break's on, but if you want to stay with us, it is really weird. I'm going to check it with the producer because it involves some weirdness. But I one of them. It really
That's
does.
Hull. Were you involved in Hull in that weirdness?
No, I wasn't involved, but this guy.
No, the public.
Well, what, have you ever been involved in anything weird in Hull? Weird in Hull? Give us a call.
I like Hull.
There's no such place, actually. It's Kingston upon Hull. Hull's the name of the river.
Okay.
John, we're back in a second, and we're actually going to get started with the show.
Get involved by calling the warm-up with Johnny Vaughan on 08717 223344 or email us via talksport.com. You can tweet us at TS Warm-Up or text us at 81089. 50p plus normal sending charges apply.
This is the warm-up. I'm Johnny Vaughan. Good morning. Joined as ever by the woodman Gavin Woods and entrepreneur James Brown, both beside me. James, what's been on the tweets this week?
Yes,
I gather we're getting ever busier.
Yeah, it's...
Where do they tweet?
They tweet to... You should tweet to at TS Warmup.
Okay.
And this week we're looking for, and I've been asking since yesterday, have you ever come across a sports person in your line of work? So,
have you fixed his garden fence?
Have you like polished Roy's axe? Have you mown John Terry's lawn?
Have you
polished Roy's axe?
That's what don't Roy Keane do that at weekends?
I don't know. It just sounded like a euphemism.
Yeah.
I'm just going to the shed, love, to polish the axe.
Martin Scully writes in. He says, "My brother-in-law fitted worktops for Paul Ince a few years ago. Reckons he's not the governor when his missus is at home."
Oh, of course he isn't. Of course he isn't. No one is. Let's face it. Alex Ferguson missed a game once because his wife, because Mrs. Ferguson had insisted she help him move house.
Is that true?
It's true. Yeah, he missed that game, didn't he? It was one of the only games he wasn't at the pitch side, and Fergie missed it because they were moving that weekend. I'm thinking Fergie can afford really good movers to do everything, but Mrs. Ferguson put her foot down.
Do you know what? Why don't we ask each time we do a manager, has he ever lied about why he's missed a game?
Yeah.
Because you can imagine Fergie might just have a terrible hangover.
He could have done.
Because he's got 5 days a week to move house.
To move house, exactly. And he must have known he was... I mean, they really have got their diary mapped out. Anyway, go on, James.
Yeah, here we've got one from somebody called Curly Haired Pig. That's not great reading that. At P-O-O.
Is that you?
No,
Is
it's
it
not.
you, James? Is it Bob? Okay,
It's
go on.
somebody on Twitter called Curly Head Pig, and he says, I was given a ticking off for illegally parking a lorry by a not-so-jolly giant Dean Richards, England's number 8, and a policeman.
There we go. He used to work for Syston Police in Leicester.
Did he? John Howe, who's a regular tweet to this show, says, Sniffer Clark picked up some welding rods from a firm I used to work for. He was a rep for a plant hire business, so keep them coming in. There's loads already in. But
I always wish that I'd been there when Jeff Capes was a policeman. I don't know. I'd have really liked him to break down my door.
Is that euphemism?
No, I really would. You imagine that? Well, you wake up,
Just
they've
with
got
his
the
hand.
wrong house, and suddenly Jeff Capes has raided you.
He looked like Bluto, didn't he, from the Popeye cartoons?
Do you know what Jeff Capes is famous for? Do you know what he does?
World's Strongest Man?
No. What do you think?
Superstars.
No. What Jeff Capes is, he's the biggest person in this field in the world.
No.
Yeah, there's one field I'm thinking of.
Cake
What do you think
decorating.
he is? What do you think he does?
He's been really true.
Yeah, I'm being truthful. Jeff's business.
Fine cabinet making.
No, but think about it. Big, powerful man like that. He breeds budgies.
No.
Yeah, little Jeff.
Is that true? Well, let's get him on the show and interview him.
That's like Tyson with the pigeons, isn't it?
Well, no, but yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
But no, just Jeff with these little budgies.
No, you got to get him. How does he warm up for a pit? Did he have a fancying competition?
I don't
what
know,
do they do?
but he had some armpits on him. Let's go to. Do you know what are we doing? Somebody's going to get their ass kicked.
Somebody gon' get their ass kicked. Somebody gon' get their wig split. Somebody gon' get their ass kicked. Somebody gon' get their wig split. Beat 'em up.
Who's going to get their ass kicked? Well, we don't know, but we know who's going to do the kicking. Ladies and gentlemen, Dean Windass is here.
Good morning.
Morning, Dean. Clap apart from me. Morning, Dean. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine, thank you.
Nice to have you on. Thank you very much for joining us on the warm-up.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm just going to go put my bets on, so can we hurry up?
Oh, I love that.
What are you betting, Dean? Is it a big accumulator? Have you got games?
Yeah, just a bit of accumulator, yeah.
So
You don't bet on football, do you?
Yeah.
It's insane, man.
That's insider dealing, isn't it? You're inside
No, he's retired.
Well,
He's
no,
retired.
I'm not a footballer anymore, so it doesn't make no difference.
Fair
Okay,
enough.
fantastic.
Fair enough.
Hull has been named as the UK's next city of culture, Dean. I mean, how do you feel?
Fantastic.
How do you feel about that? Considering you're going to have a street there named after you.
Yeah, fantastic. It's great for the city, obviously. It's been a long time coming. They've worked hard over Hull, and there's been a few politicians on the television, saying let Hull to rot, things like that. And
Yeah. Well, I don't think. Wait a second. No one's ever said let Hull rot. I've never seen. No, I've seen some things written. Dean, you can exaggerate a little bit, but no politicians ever said. And what do you think about the Hull question? I think we should just let it rot. Dean, you're just lying to us.
I'm not lying.
No, you're lying. Just don't go on the warm-up and just lie. Someone said about Hull, let it burn.
Yeah, let it rot. That's what they said, Johnny. That's what they said.
Okay,
so
okay,
now
fair.
we've proved them wrong. And
Okay.
it's fantastic. Obviously, it's great news for the city, and there's a lot of nice features in Hull.
Okay.
The marina, for example, is fantastic, and let's hope now that we can develop marina, because with the cafe bars and things like that, which everybody really wants.
Dean, would you stop
Dino,
Dean, just back off, mate.
He's in the
No,
construction
you
business.
can't. No,
We've all glazed over.
We're glazed over, mate. Do you know what? You had me first of all at let it rot, but once you start going, and Johnny, we're going to build some cafe bars. It's going to take more than Dean. It's going to take more than cafe bars. There's more
the marina's fantastic.
It is fantastic. I tell you what, I've been to Hull quite a few times. I've got some friends there, and there was I once got the drunkest I think I've ever got at a wine bar called Plonkers, and
Right.
and it was a 4-for-1 deal on the booze, a 4-for-1, and it just said, as you came inside, it's a big blackboard. It just said, "Go bonkers at Plonkers." 4-for-1 deal on all cocktails.
I think that now we've got the city culture. They should bring that deal back.
And they what, 4-for-1?
City wide.
But they went beyond happy hour. It just said happy night. it was double happy night at Plonkers. Go bonkers. This was, of course, Dean, this was before the era of the cafe bar.
I bet the bouncers were busy in that
Going
place.
at the minute.
That is the way the world's going at the minute. All these cafe bars and restaurants.
I know.
what I
Tell
mean?
me about it. It's just dead.
Have you heard about the Hull Fair, Johnny?
No.
It's the best fair in the world, isn't it, Dino?
It certainly is.
It's massive. There's some brilliant. If you go on YouTube and put Hull Fair in, there's these brilliant old film of these amazing, massive.
But
waltzers, fairs.
Wait a second. Rather abruptly, you walk. If you go down the road a bit to Nottingham, you find the Goose Fair's a great big fair, and I know that's rather abrupt of me to say that.
No.
Yeah, but Hull's bigger than that one.
Yeah,
it's
Hull Fair is world famous.
Bigger than Goose Fair. It can't be.
It is.
The Goose Fair is enormous.
Dino, tell them how famous it is. I've got mates in Hull, and the fair is the big thing that happens every year.
Is it? Is that?
Yeah.
And also,
It's down obviously down Walter Street in Hull, just right near the KC Stadium and that. So,
okay.
But it is, Johnny. It is quite a. You should make a trip one year.
Okay. Well, I would think that
there's footage of a kid hanging off. Like a belt from the top of one of these rides.
Oh right, I thought it was like very old footage of like.
No, everyone's laughing, and you can see he's like it's anyway.
All right, like an
footage.
execution of a fire-starting child or something. It's kind of weird. Okay, pre-match meal, Dean. What did you used to warm up with?
Chicken and beans.
Chicken and beans
on the morning of the game. That is.
I used to like wake up in the morning. Especially if you stay in an hotel, so you wake up in the morning and then have a little bit of toast, and then at 12 o'clock I'd have my chicken and beans. What is it about the combination
of chicken and beans? What does that give you? There?
I think it's because you can digest it quite easily.
Yeah.
But like you eat. But there's some lads who I used to play and they'd have a big English breakfast in the morning and then not have a pre-match at 12 o'clock. I know that the times have changed a little bit now, but then they wouldn't have a pre-match at 12. But
Okay.
I like to eat at about 12 o'clock with the lads at half 12, then go for a walk and head off to the ground at about 1:30 after a team meeting.
Anything unusual ever happened? On your pre-match walk, anything got you distracted? Anything weird happened before games?
No, well, you'd sort of walk in sort of quiet environments around some posh houses or whatever and sort of try sneaking looking through other people's windows and that, you know what I mean?
So what you saying before a game is you sort of go and case a joint for later. and then after the game I'm going to do a burglary.
There's a little kid. Dad, Dean Windass is looking for our window. Don't be stupid, son. He's about to play for City.
He's warming up.
So you're saying before the game you'll tend to go and walk around a nice area?
Yeah, because it's quieter.
Well, depending where you was, obviously, but you sort of have a walk at about, say, 11:45 just before your pre-match and that 12 o'clock, and have a 20-minute stroll, walk around and use your phones, because obviously you can use your phones on.
But Dean, anything weird on those walks? Anything weird happen to you on the way to the game?
No, not really.
No, nothing to delay you.
No, I used to walk with a gaffer and that, just making sure that I'm playing, and the lads used to slow.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, he didn't say that.
There we go. And will you be interested in the vacant managerial position with the Irons?
How do you know that?
Well, just a guess, just a random guess. I know a little bit about Scunthorpe. Go on.
No. Listen, my son plays for Accrington Stanley, and I went to watch him last week, and obviously the beat Scunny 2-0, and Brian was under a little bit of pressure, and it's all public knowledge. I'm trying to get back in the game. I'm on the straight and narrow, and everything's going well. So
hey, listen, no one ever said anything otherwise.
No, but I had a bit of a bad time, but I'm back on track now. And
are you?
Yeah, and without a shadow of a doubt, yeah. And,
did you have quite a bad time?
Yeah, I went to Tony Adams' clinic, Sporting Chance, with a little bit of depression. But I'm back on track now, so I'm all right. And
good man. Good news.
Everything's good, Jonathan. Everything's good.
Okay, well, listen. Do you know what? If ever you need perking up, you're always welcome right here on the warm up. We always appreciate you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning, Dean.
Thank you very much. Good luck to Hull City today against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, good luck to the Tigers. Although we've got to be neutral.
Do you think Accrington's going to win today, Dean?
Well, they're playing Torquay, who are obviously struggling at the bottom of the league as well, but James Beattie's done a fantastic job. Got player manager of the month.
Just say yes or no, Dino. Do you think they'll win? Because we do this on the predictions.
It's one of our
I want some inside info, because you're the dad of one of the players.
Go on.
Yeah.
Will he win?
Yeah, Yes, they'll win today.
Right, okay.
Okay.
We're all writing that down
Dean,
now.
listen.
Even money.
Even money. Listen, Dean, thank you so much for talking to us. And
Thanks very much for the phone call. You cheered me up, Johnny.
Do you know what? You sound perky. You sound centred. You sound like Dean Windass is back.
Yeah!
Thanks, Steve.
It's time for Back in Black. Sorry. Every week I do it. Every week I know it annoys you. Gavin, we're back in black. We were talking about Sam Allardyce.
We were, yes.
We were talking about Sam Allardyce earlier. Why has he caught your eye with the refs?
He said yesterday that that clubs and managers can make their own luck with the ref. In other words, you can put pressure on a ref, the crowd and everything. But he makes a very good point that there are not enough refs in the group that is selected for Premier League matches. There's 18 refs for the 20 teams in the league. There's always 10 games a week. And what that means is that being only 18 of them is that if there is any kind of refs not having a good month or whatever, you're going to get that same guy twice in 2 weeks.
They're not competing for places.
Exactly. And his point is that if there's more like 26, there would be competition amongst
Gav,
the refs.
How much do you get for being a ref? Do you know?
It's about 70 grand a year.
Okay.
Like that.
Here's
everyone would be trying up to be a ref.
Sorry?
Do you think everybody would be applying?
Well, you would, you would. I don't know.
70 grand to run around with footballers. And
I know.
Do you know what? If the most influential man on the
that's only for the Premier League refs. It takes a while to get there. You know, they've got 77 refs, I think, and 230 odd officials at the PGMO.
There's 77
and there's
refs,
only
but
18. Only 18 that are in the what they call the select group.
do you get relegated and promoted each year?
The kind of, It just gets done within.
Oh, I'd love to see that. The playoffs for refs. You see a ref at the end of the game and he's going down.
I'm going to come to that in item 3 because there's an idea that we had.
He's going to come to that in item 3.
There are.
But you're turning into the sort of the Mr. La-di-da Gunnar
I
Graham.
know, exactly,
Who is going on to item 3, Sergeant
Please
Major?
don't ruin my agenda.
Sergeant Major. Okay, next up.
Steve Clarke at West Brom.
You are.
What's he giggling at now?
Because you like Mr. La-di-da Gunnar Graham.
It's got pantomime.
Exactly. I'm coming to that if you don't mind.
Like, come on, but without twanky.
Okay, come on.
Steve Clarke at West Brom has had a phone call from Mike Riley apologising for the Ramirez decision. He says that he wants videos for pen calls, and we've discussed many times how many pens are not called correctly, whether they're given when they shouldn't or not given when they should. 45% wrong last season. When you've seen a replay in a game, how many times do you think you could call it right on the replay for a pen?
It depends who you support.
No. Come on.
No, it does depend who you support, because
I understand
genuinely...
that. I understand
but
that.
people... They're
I was at the game. I
blindness.
was at the game. I knew it wasn't a penalty.
I know, but
Straight away.
people are blind.
I said they are taking the.
I'm talking purely on the replay. I think even though there are some replays where you can't definitively decide, there's always going to be some where the camera angles don't tell you enough. I reckon 95 you could get them right within 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And I think when there's a contentious pen given, there's more time wasted with people arguing with the ref at that
there's
moment.
a quick look, you're right.
That there would be if someone looked at a monitor quickly.
But this thing about stopping the game, I don't believe that anyway. For a start, I mean, people are just stopping at left, right, and
All
centre
the
for
time.
injuries.
Or
I
it's,
don't
it's
think it
such
would
an
waste
old.
any
No,
time.
listen. There's one reason and one reason only why they don't want to bring technology into Earth's biggest game.
Why?
Well, because it makes it less easy to fix, as far as I can see.
Well,
it's because it makes it less easy for sort of whoever is out there.
like you were doing last week about the ref who gave 3 pens in 3 minutes.
Exactly. Just odd things that happen, and you got a referee, and you can see that whoever is it. I'm not going to be
Are you saying it's fixed in England?
I'm not saying it's fixed. I'm just saying there's certain clubs they don't favour particularly. I've noticed, for instance. Do you know what? I'm not going to.
This was a question in my quiz in the week. Which team last year was awarded the most penalties?
Go on.
Chelsea.
Really?
In the Premiership.
Really?
Right. Which 2 teams were awarded the least?
Go on.
Swansea and Spurs. They got no pens last year.
Really?
It does have. The penalties are so important. They do decide games, especially when it's the last minute of a game.
No, do you know what I think is the key way of influencing a game? And I think the way referees do it. I'm not saying football's endemically corrupt. It's just odd that every other sport on earth does embrace technology so that people are playing the rules of the game, not against the referee. Sorry, Gav. Go on, Karen, you're about to make a point. Go on.
No, I was just going to... It kind of runs into the item 3.
Go on.
Which is...
He's got an agenda. His agenda.
Michael Laudrup wants refs to be able to speak about their decisions after games.
Yeah.
There's a PGMO, which is the Referees Association, statement. Clubs, managers and players have the right to appeal over matters of discipline. This is the commenting post-match is viewed as potentially prejudicing that appeal.
Yeah.
This is a view supported by FIFA and the FA.
Yeah.
Now, that just doesn't mean anything. The Premier League is the Premier League is allowed to referee the Premier League how they want to within the rules.
Yeah, but the point about it is that as I bang on about it every week, FIFA have nothing to do with the rules of football whatsoever. Nothing to do with it.
Come on, Gav,
the point I was
going
to make was referees are accountable in every game. The officials are assessed by two groups: match delegates appointed by the Premier League and the PGMOL, the evaluators.
Yeah.
Now, why can't we see the evaluations and have a league table of refs?
Something else that's wrong with refs.
Go on.
Why are they expected to run around? Because there's 22 players on the pitch. They pass the ball around.
Yeah.
The refs must cover more ground than most players. They should be given those little mopeds that you sometimes see stuntmen riding around film sets.
You mean
Exactly
a Segway?
right.
A
Like
Segway?
little crown? No, not a Segway. A really tiny motorbike that you can put in
like a monkey
suitcase,
bike.
like Gazza probably
got
had.
Like the Duke of Edinburgh at those horse shows. Still going around that little kitschy Honda set. I tell you how referees can most influence